but what we're hoping to get out of today is all of us teach and learn as much as possible about really how to avoid the biggest problem in our industry, possibly in all industries right now, which is employment, right? Team members, hiring, training, retention. So that's what we're going to do. If you've watched my webinars before, you know I talk a lot. I go through all this whole presentation. That is not what this is today. This is a roundtable discussion. So we're going to go one at a time, and I'm going to go ahead and ask you guys to share if you have anything to share. If not, then you can pass. But really, again, some of us are really good in some areas versus others. For example, you may be really good at hiring good help, but you hire good help and then they quit a week later. So you may have the hiring process down, but you can't keep people. Somebody else may be really good at keeping people. They just can't get people to apply. So that's what we're hoping to do. Again, we did this before, and I learned a lot last year when we did this. So I'm hoping that I can learn a lot and you guys can learn a lot. So pretty much we're going to go around, do a quick introduction, and then mainly I'm going to ask three questions, three areas we're going to cover. We're going to do one at a time. One is hiring, two is training, and three is retention. Those are the three things we're going to talk about, and I'm going to ask you guys to share about. I definitely don't have all the answers in this area. You want to talk about marketing, you want to talk about bookings, I can definitely help, but hiring, training, retention, definitely not an area that I'm too strong in. So this is really all you guys. So we're going to go around, again, do some introductions, and then first we'll talk about hiring. I want to hear about hiring. How are you hiring? Where are you posting? How are you doing your interviews? What strategies are you using to identify a good candidate versus a bad candidate? Then I'm going to ask everybody about training, right? Training. So once you've hired them, how are you training people so that they learn and stick around and become independent people? And then lastly, we're going to talk about retention. You've hired the right guy. You've trained them properly. How come they all quit 30 days later, right? Or how come they never come back year after year? What are some things that some of you guys are doing to keep people year after year after year? So those are the three things we're going to go with. So I'm going to go ahead and start from my screen here from the upper left, and I'm going to ask you guys all those questions. So we're going to start. Just tell us where you're located, right, first, and then we can go through and start with that. So we're going to start with Nick Babluski. Nick, jump guy, tell us where you're located, how long you've been in business, and then let's start with the first question. How are you hiring? What strategies are you using for hiring your employees? Go ahead, Nick.
Sure. How you guys doing? I'm also in Chicago. I'm up on the northwest side of Chicago. Tariq, I know you're south. Friendly competitors, I guess. Although I don't go down by you too much, and I know you don't come up here. So saying hi, I guess. How do I get my employees? A lot of them is word of mouth from the local high schools. What's that?
Real quick, Nick, how long have you been in business, just so we kind of have an idea?
Actually, this is my 30th year, 30.
All right. This guy's got it figured out, guys. Let's listen to Nick. How are you hiring? 30 years.
Actually, I don't have it figured out. That's why I'm on here right now. But I give my guys, obviously the local high schools, I talk to, there's a work program in some of them. So, obviously you got to talk to them, maybe like a principal, and tell them you have a business. And then you talk to a work program teacher, and then they post something up on the chalkboard, leave some flyers. So we do, 3 or 4 different schools, and that's how we get guys, and I've had a couple guys the last 3 years, but now they all, went to college. So this year, if we want to do as good as we did last year, I'm looking to hire another 30 guys. Our problem is we start losing them in August. I mean, they'll stick around, but some of them go to college. The other ones go back to football practice. And now last year I was dying. I couldn't wait for Halloween to be over in November. I was begging guys to come in September and October, because we had a killer year, just like many of you guys did. So again, although I've been in the business for a while, it was just a backyard, out of my garage for 10, 15. And then, finally, I met a lady, and she's like, what do you want to do? Get rid of it? I said, there's money to be made here, just not doing it right. So I brought her aboard, and, things, the needle's pointing up, with revenue. So that's where we're at. So, although time in, I just don't know. I don't know, how to keep these guys after August, and then we got some college kids, but That's it. I've got, and we're seasonal. We're in Chicago. So I can't keep these guys year round, even two of them, let alone one of them, or three of them. Just we're done. We've got some jobs in November and, some in December, obviously for Christmas. But then, our slowest month is January and February, kind of sucked up here too. And, finally calling some of the troopers back. And we're officially kind of going to open this weekend, for April 1. And I'm sure that's something, Tariq, too. It's just, in Chicago or up north, we're seasonal and, it is what it is.
Nick, I have a question. I'm very intrigued by the whole high school thing. Can you give us like step by step, how are you getting high school? How are you working with the high schools? You said something about a work program. Can you give us some direction as to how you did that and how we could do that exactly?
I did it because back when I was in high school, there was a work program. You got like 2 credits if you had a job your junior year, senior year. So I knew the high school I went to had a work program. So that's just, I mean, back then when I was a kid, I'd worked at the gas station, but I got 2 credits, just for this taking this class and then going to work after school.
So did you
Got out of
high school and say, hey, we can help with your work program? Who did you reach out to? Did you email, call? How did you?
Sure. Well, I mean, I knew one of the principals because we did a job over here. So you got to kind of stay there, they got to let you in, or unless the teacher. But, at least the principal or the assistant principal, hey, this is Nick, Jump Guy Party Rentals in Chicago. Hey, we do all the block parties in the neighborhood. You might have seen the bounce houses and slides. Oh yeah, I know who you are. Well, hey, we're looking for employees this spring, summer. And I know, we had the work program here and, I just want to talk to the teacher and leave some flyers, let them know that we're hiring. So that was one school, go to second school, 3 or 4 different schools is what we did. And that's how we get kids. But again, like I said, I mean, they're only good till the middle of about August. So you just gotta, some of the other guys that you had before in college, and then obviously you need some older guys that could drive some trucks because obviously a 16, 17-year-old, they're not driving our trucks. But that's pretty much how we've got our employees the last 10 years. I mean, you should have seen the oddball crew I had 15, 20 years ago. I mean, we didn't look good. We didn't wear the same shirts, believe me, back then.
Awesome. Thank you. Sure. That's definitely very intriguing. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of questions about that from others. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Definitely look into that.
I'm here to listen. I'm here to listen and learn also, buddy.
Same here, man. All right, let's hear from Maurice. Maurice, what's up, Maurice? You're more in the game truck area. Maurice Covert, game truck. Do you have? Are you doing? How many game trucks? I guess do you have? Let's kind of start from scratch. Where are you located? How many years in business? And then you can kind of tell us about your hiring strategies.
Hey, so I am in Columbus, Ohio. Been in business for going on. This is our 8th year. So we, like Tariq said, we have game truck, laser tag, Nerf, jelly ball, foam. And the other question was, how do I get my guys? Mainly word of mouth. Most of my guys are word of mouth from previous.
Oh, come in.
Okay. From
Sounds like he's got an employee coming in.
So from previous employees, and then also I do a lot of inner city school work. So I talk to some of the principals there, and then we get a lot of inner city students that come to us, and because I try to like mentor to some of them also at the same time as being their boss too. So that's mainly where we get our guys from. How to keep them is what I'm really struggling with right now, because some of them are just not getting it. So I have to let them go because they really don't understand the whole meaning of the work ethic. And so a lot of them just are not really getting it. So I'm here to really learn how to train them better, put some things in place as far as like really coming from a corporate background. I really want to bring some of those things to the business like time and attendance, getting better procedures, really being a lot more structured with the employee, even though this is a fun business, we still need to keep it 100% on the business side. And a lot of them don't understand that. They only see the fun aspect of the business, and it's too laid back. So that's where I'm at.
All right. Well, thank you very much for sharing. Definitely a struggle as a local small mom and pop business to try to implement corporate procedures. Like you said, on the one hand, people don't see you as a corporation. They see you as like a local small business. So they feel like they can, it's a different setting, but that may be what attracts them. So yeah, I've definitely struggled with that. I tried to bring in a lot of corporate stuff from my career into my workplace. Some of it worked, but overall it was a lot of work. And I think it's a lot more than just bringing that stuff in. You have to have a good backbone for it. So definitely hear that. So we'll talk more about retention in a bit. Definitely, I'm interested in that as well. Let's go to Trayless Adley. Why don't you tell us where you're located, how long you've been in business, and how are you hiring your employees right now? Where are you finding them? All that good stuff.
All right. I'm located in Dallas, Texas. Been in business for 18 years now. And here for the last, 4 or 5 years, I've been finding my employees on Indeed. At first, I was kind of fortunate because I had 3 sons and I had 3 nephews, and they basically kind of grew up in the business. So not only did I have them, but I also had their friends that would come on board and work. But these last few years with kids going off to college and everything, it's been kind of tough. So that's basically my spiel.
So Indeed has worked for you. You post on Indeed and you just call them in and do traditional style. And I'm curious, what does your job posting look like? I mean, do you call it delivery driver? How is it competitive with other stuff that's out there?
Yeah, I call it delivery driver / warehouse, and I basically, kind of have it broken down, on my expectations. Basically I tell them, it's a Friday through Tuesday position. Friday, Saturday, and Sundays we're basically out doing deliveries and pickups, and then on Mondays and Tuesdays are our days that we come back in and clean and kind of get everything ready for the upcoming week. Man, prior to COVID, I mean, I would probably get, 30, 40 hits, and then, out of them, maybe 10 you kind of interested in, and then you could probably hire, 2 or 3. But after COVID, man, it was basically everybody that was applying was like, trash the resumes, because it was just people probably just like putting in applications just to be fulfilling unemployment standards or whatnot. This past year, I kind of thought I had it figured out, man. Couple of guys on board, and what I just basically was just kind of paying them, just to kind of be on the bench type deal. They was basically doing all the oddball jobs. And man, believe it or not, this past Sunday, one of my workers just died unexpectedly or whatnot. And I mean, we spent months of training, while it was kind of slow, just kind of reiterating everything for once the season got ready to take off. And lo and behold, that kind of happened to me. So, and I was getting ready to do some more hiring right now. So I'm kind of back like to, where'd I go now? So, yeah.
Wow. Sorry to hear that, man. That's terrible.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for sharing. Let's go to Messiah. What's up, Messiah? Tell us how long you've been in business, where you're located, and how are you hiring?
Hey, Tariq, what's up, guys? I'm located in New York City. I've been in business since 2014. I was doing it part-time up until about 2018. I come from a corporate environment. I've been an operations manager for most of my life up until I have 3 children. So it just made sense. I had a few hiccups. It made sense to purchase a few items. I'm fortunate enough where I have a 19-year-old son. So he's grown in the business with me. And it's a real family business. My wife is my partner. My son's my partner. My brother's involved. My nephews and a lot of my son's buddies whenever needed. So I really don't right now have an issue as far as personnel or retaining people. There's never a shortage of help.
Right.
I try to pay them well because we get a premium out here in New York. So and I've been fortunate in that way.
All right, so you're good there. All right, well, thank you for sharing. Hopefully, we can get some of our kids to help out. Awesome. All right, let's go to hey, what's up, Tony? Tony Castle just joined us. So Tony, we're just kind of going around. We said we're going to talk about 3 things: hiring, training, retention. First up is hiring. So why don't you tell us where you're located, how long you've been in business, and how are you hiring these days?
We've been in business 16 years. I am in Lubbock, Texas, and we're predominantly using Indeed, like most people are these days. Sorry to get out of the TV and the noise. Not having the worst of luck this year. It's been a decent season, and we are, it's volume based for us. We hire 20 and hope 10 show up, and then of those 10, we try to, of course, keep who we can. But one of our things is, since COVID hit, we've really stabilized our schedules a lot. So, we're not doing all the weekend, early mornings, late nights, whatever like that. We're doing deliveries on Fridays and pickups on Mondays. But I've got the weather that's conducive to that for the most part. Not tonight, but
My question for you, Tony, sorry to interrupt. How is it daytime out there? It's 8 p.m. where I'm at, and it's daytime where you're at. That's interesting. It's been dark here for like 2
that honestly, I think it's the reflection of the dust off the lights.
Okay.
It's like 45 mile an hour winds today, so it's been kind of nasty.
Okay. All right.
But our thing is that we really stabilize schedules, and I've not had near the turnover I've had in the past. We used to come in like everybody else, 5 o'clock on Saturday morning and load trucks and take off, and go deliver, and stress about blowouts and everything else, and get late to parties, get your butt chewed. And now, we'll accommodate a Saturday delivery if we've got Saturday crews, but they work until like 2 o'clock, and then they're off until Monday or Tuesday on that crew. And so we changed it a lot just to make it easier for staff to have a little more stable schedule. I've got crews that work Tuesday through Saturday. I've got crews that work Monday through Friday. Occasionally with schools and such, we'll work a Sunday, but not regularly scheduled.
So you feel that you're, between hiring on Indeed and setting a schedule where it's basically stable, unlike a lot of us where, one weekend you might work, one weekend you might not, or, working all weekends. You feel that that's kind of helping you with retention then?
Oh, definitely. And the simple fact of the matter is, I eat a ton of payroll in bad weeks and bad season. And, the month of January, I had 18 employees, 22 employees, and I didn't have the business to justify, but we bank for it in the summer. And it's not a perfect solution for a lot of people, but for us, when you do the big tents, when you do the other stuff, decorating, whatever like that, you've got to have a core group of people that you just keep and hold on to, because you can go into the spring and kill yourself for no reason. But like myself, I haven't been to work but 4 hours in the last 10 days. I've got managers, I've got staff, I've got things going, and I've got other obligations right now. And I don't work my business the way I should have or the way I used to, but I've got staff that do a pretty damn good job.
All right, that's awesome. Well, that's definitely something to look up to. Thank you for sharing. Let's jump over to William Stevenson. Where are you located? How long have you been in business? And how are you hiring? What are your hiring tips?
My name is William Stevenson. I own Jumpin' Jacks Entertainment LLC. We're located in Tamco, which is a really small village, but we service 5 different counties here in Illinois. And I don't have too many strategies for hiring or holding employees as of right now, because our business is we're into our 2nd year. Our children do a lot of work for us. They're great. They enjoy it, but we're getting to the point to where we have a lot more units, and we're looking into hiring. And a lot of our drop off and pickups, we have a big gap during the day to where, there's downtime, and just trying to figure out and learn the best way to manage that downtime into holding a decent employee.
Gotcha. So your struggle is mainly because it's March, it's Chicago, it's cold, kind of So when do you plan on starting hiring up? I guess that's my question.
We would probably be looking into the March time once, we start getting more slide rentals, or April, my apologies. We're starting to pick up on bookings, for different large events, fundraisers, stuff like that. So yeah, we'd probably be looking at sometime here in the next month to start running ads and looking at candidates. It'd probably just be a small handful, but the biggest thing is how to manage them, and the fact that we got 4 hours of solid hard work in the morning, and then we got 4 hours of solid hard work in the evenings. So here for information.
All right, you and me both. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's jump over to Tariq Alaf. What's up, man? Where are you at? How long you been in business, and how are you? What are your hiring tips, if any?
Hello, this is not Tariq, this is his wife. He stepped away, so as you can tell, we're a family business, as everyone I guess here. So it's only me and my husband. I actually logged in to hear more about tips because we just started. It's gonna be our first season. We're starting very small, 3 items so far. So, but I have a full-time job, so that's why I want to know how you guys manage hiring and retention. In case we do well, we might look into hiring someone to help my husband because I'm not going to be able to do that. It's just too heavy for me to handle every weekend.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thank you for joining and listening in. Hopefully, you'll come out with. I know I'm definitely taking notes here, so hopefully you are too. Learning a lot already.
I actually wanted to say that I asked in one of the groups with other owners how they manage hiring in such a difficult time. Someone proposed to me to hire like per rental, like basically pay per rental between $40 to $60, I think. So I don't know if any of you have done that in the past when you were still maybe back at the beginning of the business, and if it does work out. It sounds like it's kind of more feasible for us because I cannot commit to certain hours or because it's just brand new. We don't know how it's going to work out.
Very good question. So sure, there's tons of feedback on that. Who here is paying per rental instead of per hour?
Or maybe when they were still small like us. I think now when someone has over 10 or 15, it makes sense to pay per hour.
Okay, so I'm sure some of you guys are, maybe not want to speak out. So who's ever paid per rental or per instead of per hour? Go ahead, Kiyoki.
So we used to do pay per hour. So I'm still struggling with hiring employees, but I have I just had a group of a couple that was actually working for me. They were in college. They're not from here. So I actually let them use one of my vehicles and I was paying them per hour, and they were by far the most motivated because they could see that they could make about maybe $600 each a week. And it's just up to them and how much they could make. But in the end, you just kind of taking a risk because you got to monitor the cleaning and all that kind of stuff. So if you're paying per unit, you may not get the quality that you want on cleaning and all that kind of stuff.
So you're saying they do the delivery, but when it's time to clean it up before or after the rental, they'll rush through that because they're getting paid for the delivery, not necessarily.
So like a lot of my units are water slides, so they would try to clean the unit when they pick it up, then it's still damp. So they're basically putting back my units wet.
Yeah, that's definitely a risk that I can imagine comes with that. You know, when you pay per hour, you have the opposite problem, right? They want to milk a clock, take their time. We did at one point, we did pay per item. We actually did that when COVID hit. We like you were saying, we really found it. We were struggling to do hourly. We didn't know what was happening. So we had a bunch of guys that did want to work. We said, listen, guys, we can pay you per item because of COVID. We don't know what's happening, and that we did that for a little while. It was okay, but it did get complicated. We had to pay per delivery and per return and per cleaning, but it did get us through a little rough patch. But honestly, ever since we did per hour, yes, there is some waste. Yes, it does get to be sometimes where you're like, man, I paid probably for an hour that I didn't have to. But when you do the math, hey, at some point, if I waste $100 or $200 per week on guys milking the clock or taking their time, it's worth it for me that, for them to stay on and not feel like I'm taking advantage of them. So there's always going to be some kind of waste as you grow. So that's kind of a decision that we took. We're just going to do it hourly, and if we lose a little bit, it's still worth it in the grand scheme of things.
What were you paying per pickup and per drop?
Sorry?
What were you paying per delivery and then per pickup?
No, it was about 2 seasons ago, so I really don't recall. But we did the math. We did the math, and we basically made it so that we were paying about 20 or 25%. I think it was like we tried to hit 20% of the total that we were making. So if it was like a $200 order, we would pay like $50 for that. So we'd have to make sure that the delivery fee was in there. We added a bunch of fees, damage waiver and all that. It ended up working out. So I don't recall exactly, but we did it based on a percentage. We didn't share that percentage with the drivers. We just said, bounce houses are $50, combos are $60, tables and chairs, I think we did like 10 cents each or something like that. It was complicated, honestly. I don't miss it. I'm glad we're not doing that anymore. But yeah, I don't know if anybody on that paid per item instead of per hour. Anybody?
I pay per item.
Okay. Do tell. What do you pay? How's it going? How do they like it? How do you like it?
Well, it's my daughter and my nephew, so they're 13. So in a day, so if they make like $80, it's a lot of money. But I'm small. I don't really have employees per se. But I think I want to keep that mentality. And then like 4th of July last year, I paid somebody for, I think it was like 6 hours. I paid them $120. And then I got somebody this year that I think now that I have a lot more units, I'm probably going to pay him like $200 just for the day for pickups.
So it sounds like you're paying for the day. Are you calculating it per item, or are you doing something like that?
Well, for if I'm picking, so I'm on 4th of July, the guy that that's gonna help me for pickup, I'm just gonna give him $200.
Okay.
And when we're done, we're done. And my nephew and my daughter, I do per unit. So I tell them, and they don't do much. I roll and they pick up the extension cords and the stakes and tarps and stuff. And I do $5 a bounce house for pickup and $5 for drop off. And then my combos are $10 for a drop off, $10 for pickup, so they'll get $20. And then the slide is $20 drop off, $20 pickup.
Interesting.
Hey, did you have these people last year? Because I don't know who would drop a combo off for $10. You're gonna lose these people fast.
It's my daughter and my nephew. They don't got a choice.
Well,
Yeah,
then if they don't have a choice,
okay,
hey, if you don't have no roof over your head tonight.
So they also get their tips. Any tip that comes, they get it right then and there. I don't take any of it. So in a busy weekend, when they see a little 13-year-old girl working, she'll rack in $100 in tips.
That's awesome. I love it, man. Love it. Bringing your family, I tried that for a while. Didn't last long. My kids were a little too wild, but they want to go inside the house and watch TV. I'm like, what are you doing? That's not spoiled.
I think I have something that I could add to the whole family thing. My 15, about to be 16-year-old son, he's heavily involved with our operation. Very intelligent kid. He can, pretty much handle everything besides advertising and marketing. So my question is if I hire guys, how would we go about it to where my 16-year-old son is their crew leader? I have the confidence in it that he can train them. But how would you keep a respectful employee? Because I know every one of us has been in that situation where we look down like, I've been in the workforce so much longer than this kid, like I deserve that position. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So how do you keep that on board?
Give them a title, like a crew leader. That's what I would do. Give them a different title. You're a crew leader.
Well, yeah,
And tell the other,
definitely. And that's gonna do something, but then we're still facing that judgment because of his young age compared to if I put alongside of him a 28-year-old grown man that has kids, like when you give somebody else a title, it's obvious, that they're making something that somebody else couldn't be, because their title's different. So how do you prepare yourself for that judgment and that confrontation?
There's no real easy answer for that, to be honest with you. I have that same situation with my son. He's a little older, but he's 19 now. But when we started, he was probably around the same age as your son currently is. He's just gonna have to prove himself every day. You can't, you can't pass the baton on to him until he's able to prove to himself, to prove to everybody else that he's capable and qualified to do the job, no matter how they feel about him. His age is not his work ethic has to speak for itself. Once he has a title, once he has a title, they have to respect him either way. You're still the owner. So if he runs into conflict, he's gonna have to learn how to manage it.
is the 28-year-old driving the truck.
No, I get it.
I
My son's
think
been in the passenger side. My son's been in the passenger side of the seat as well, where he's the helper supposedly, and then someone else has to drive it. He deals with the customer, he collects the payment, he makes sure that everything is tethered down properly. So he's the A person. And once they see that he's qualified to do that, they respect him. A lot of people don't want to deal with that customer, so they're gonna have to respect him at one point or another.
Greatly appreciate that information. The encouragement behind it, definitely.
Right. Yeah, it's all up to him. If you say that he's able to run the business, then essentially I tell everybody that my business is my son's business, and he proves it. I don't have to say it. He doesn't speak as much as I do, but he proves it because he goes to work and he hustles every day. So they see the reason why behind it, that I say it, because he takes it's just not my son. I'm not forcing him to do this job. He takes it seriously. He sees what it provides for our family, so everybody else in turn respects him for what he does as well.
Definitely.
William, one thing that I teach my son is that, he's here to serve our employees. If he do that first, if he teach everybody or show everybody that he is here, to serve them, to make their job easier. He's not here to bossing anybody. Even I am to do that. So that, if you can teach your son, to change that mentality, don't think as a boss, I'm the boss here. If not, I'm the facilitator for my guys. I'm gonna make sure that they are comfortable, that that they are having everything that they need to make their job as smooth as possible. I know they're gonna respect them better for that. But to be honest, I would not put my son. My son is gonna turn tomorrow, actually 22. But I would not, if he was 15 or 16, I would not put him as a leader. I would try to really hire people that can do the job. My son can be there next to them, and help them, and grow and learn. But the most important thing is, if your son and even us as owners can be there and show the our employees that we are here to help them, to make sure that they have a safe and comfortable environment to work. I think that would be the best way to do it.
Excellent. Thank you.
I don't actually think we can put a title on, on the kids and the age or whatnot. I have a son who's 22 years old, but there's no way he could be my lead. I mean, he's able to do everything within the business, but I can't get him to wake up in the morning. So there's no way he could be the lead, you know. So if you're going to, be a lead, you have to lead with that example or whatnot. And I tell people all the time, if I have a 16-year-old that's doing a job better than a 28-year-old, I'd rather put more money in a 16-year-old than a 28-year-old. If they can do it, you just have to earn their respect. Go out and do the job and, do it right.
I think you should fire the 28-year-old, and get another one.
I
agree on that.
I don't even want to wake up in the morning.
I think you got to look at the integrity of the individual, and I think your son should actually be the checksum for your company, not necessarily the leader. Hire the 28, 30-year-old as the leader, pay him accordingly, and have your son help train and do whatever and fill a necessary position. But I'm 54 years old and I got these kids that think they know more than I do, and it's just it's the integrity of the individual more than anything to me.
Very good.
I have another question, if I may. This is Maria again, sorry. For those who are paying hourly, how is the schedule? How do you set the schedule? Is it like when you see how many rentals are you gonna have? How many bookings that weekend? Is it a set schedule? You start super early and have maybe 2 shifts like on Saturday, or any tips?
On my case, I don't know what Tony say, but on my case, I commit with my guys. I know they have to be, available Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and it's my job to get work for them. So I'm gonna guarantee there and then, work those days, and it's my job now to go out there, and try to book as much as possible to get work for my guys, because if not, it's going to be really difficult that they are loyal to you when you are not giving them, a steady job, steady work.
All the post is for Zoe.
Thank you for that.
Maybe when you're smaller, it's a little different. Or even like with us, when we're seasonal, some weekends we're busy, some weekends we're not. But I think, when we were smaller, we kind of had. So what we do now is we have a group of maybe 20 employees. We hire more than what we need, and we sit with them and we say, hey, listen, we give the hours, we give the work to the people who do the best. You get me a Google review, you show up on time, we pay them well, and they kind of fight for the hours. The biggest complaint we get from our employees is, how come you're not scheduling me? Well, because somebody's doing it better than you are. So somebody's not showing up, 10 minutes late every day. So it's worked for us. I would love to be able to say what Al said, where, we're going to make sure everybody has it. But for us, being seasonal, this may be, smaller guys, and we're not really that small really, but we hire way more than we need. So on any given weekend, I have 10, 12 guys going out, but on any given summer, I have 20, 25 guys. So we're only able to schedule half of what we have. So that's kind of how we do it. During the interview, we make that very clear. You show up on time. You don't forget your shirt every week. You come in with a good attitude. You get Google reviews. We want to give you the work. We're going to give you those hours. We're going to, give you more work. And I guess it depends. If you have a grown man working for you that has a family and needs consistent hours, and that's not going to work. But for us, and I'll share kind of how we hire. Most of the people we hire are high school and college kids, and it works perfectly for them. A lot of them don't want to work during the week. They just want a weekend job. For those of you guys who haven't been around, from last year, we had a really good hiring by doing 2 things: posting from our Facebook page. So there's a post I can share that Jana put together last year, and we put it on Event Hawk. A bunch of emojis, makes it a fun job. We share it on there, but the biggest part of it is, and I see a lot of you guys copying the same post and posting it, and you make the big mistake of posting it from your personal page, and then all of us jump in and say, hey, where can I apply? And they're like, oh crap. So you want to post a job from your Facebook page, not from your personal page. And the key part is the referral bonus. Last year we were scared. We had literally maybe 1 out of 30 people come back. Only 1 out of 30 people we had in 2020, only 1 came back in 2021. And we were like, man, we're screwed. There's just nothing we can do. We're gonna have to shut down or something because I'm not delivering them all. So we put out a Facebook post. We had a couple guys come in and we told them that we're doing a referral bonus, $200 referral bonus. If they bring somebody, if they bring their friends, and if they stay for like 60 or 90 days or something like that, they get $200. We didn't think anything of it, but come to find out, these guys were posting on Instagram, on Snapchat, stuff that I don't even know how to use. And I pull up to the office one day and there's 8 guys standing outside waiting for me. Like, what's going on? Who the heck are you guys? They're like, oh yeah, so-and-so told us. They were all referred by different people and they all wanted the job. They hyped it up. They were marketing for us. That helped us a lot. So I think between the way that the ad was worded, where it was published, Instagram, Facebook, from those pages where those young kids are, and then that incentive to bring on more people, that helped us get people who didn't mind working weekends only and stuff like that. So I could share that link in the comments here from our website. But that's what's really helped us have a really good year last year when a lot of people were honestly struggling with employees. We did not have that problem last year.
Hey, Tariq, this is Brian. I did the same thing. I have 15 or I have a list of about 15 guys, and 4 or 5 or 6 maybe needed any given weekend until we hit the big weekends. But I have mostly high school guys or first year college guys, mostly athletes. So my biggest problem is Saturday mornings. They are usually training, and so I have a few guys that I put on. They're always on Saturday morning crew, and then the athletes that have to work out on Saturday mornings, they're on my Saturday evening or Sunday crews, kind of thing. And so they get as many hours as they need. And same thing, there's 2 or 3 guys that I give them first crack at all the jobs. I basically post the jobs on Wednesday and say, this is what I need. This is how many I need. And they get first crack because they always do an excellent job. They're meticulous about doing the right things. They don't leave stakes. They don't leave, stuff. They clean up. They make sure it's presented good, and they always get good reviews. I got some guys that, they're my last resort, when I need to fill in help, kind of to do things. But I went to high schools. So first of all, I went to high schools and went to the football team and got some guys that way. And then, like you said, they refer guys, and they refer, the seniors referred the juniors for the next year. And so I just kind of constantly have this crew going through with that way.
Brian, if I can ask you, I always hear people, saying that you guys go to the school, and talk to the elected director or something. How was that process? How do you call by phone? Do you go in person to the school? How do you get in contact with the right person in the school?
Yeah, for me, I already knew the football coach because my sons played football, so I already had that connection. But I did talk to some others, through, and it could be I just talked to one, but I talked to him in October. I wasn't hiring in October, but I told him, hey, about March, April, May, sometime like that, I'm going to start hiring. If you got some guys, or you got some that need a job, that need to make money, that can't afford some things, or you got some real good guys that just want to make some extra money, I'll reach out to you. And he gave me his number, and I have it ready to call. And so I would go to if you have any kind of connections, PE coach, any of the athletic coaches or anything like that, because this job is kind of physically demanding. You need some people that can kind of handle that. And so that's, if you can get any of those contacts, that's what I would do. But if, I would say go to games. They're usually not available at the games, but that's what I would do. Call up the coach. Just try to find a school directory and find the coach and call the coach and say, hey, I got some jobs that kind of physically demanding, get them good workout and pay, and this is what I pay. And once you get a couple of them, like Tariq said, then tell them to find, because they like working with their buddies. You know, that's what I found. They always like working with their buddies, and so they're happy to make those connections.
That's a good one. School directory. That's definitely gonna try that. Go into the school directory, find the coach, dean, principal, somebody, call, leave a voicemail, try again, and hopefully one of them does. There's a lot of schools. Awesome. Thank you, Brian. Very good point.
So Tariq, I got a question. Well, not really a question, but I got 5. Sorry if you're about to move on to something else. I apologize. I got 5 combos here, and I'm looking to hire. Well, I've already talked to like one guy. I think I'm going to do like 120 a day, Saturday and Sunday. What's your thoughts on that?
Do you want to pay per day for 5 combos?
You're right. I'm paying per day, 120 per day. Hopefully, I can get 4 hours in the morning drop offs, and 4 hours in the evening pickup.
We were talking about that.
That's it. Let's just say 8 hours in that couple hours. Why not just pay them by the hour then? I mean, you're telling them you're giving them 120, but at 8 hours in that ad, it comes out to $15 an hour. Somebody's might be longer. It might be 9, 10 hours, and then they're down at $11 an hour. So why even give them a number 120? Just pay them by the hour. I'm just asking why even give them 120? Here's what you're making,
It makes them
$15 an hour.
I do it like that because it makes them hustle. I tell my daughter and my nephew, I want to grab my stuff and get out of their yard. There's nothing more awkward than having customers watch you pick up a water slider when you're on your knees and stuff. So
I totally disagree with that.
Last year, 4th of July, we picked everything up, got it on the truck and left. And we did, I think it was like 10 or 11 units in 6 hours, and we were done.
On that input, it comes back to how do you keep a satisfied employee with giving them a 4-hour break and keeping their focus and concentration on coming back to continue in the evening time and being able to count on them.
That's hard.
But then on the other note,
can you repeat the first part?
How do you keep the employees when you give them a 4-hour break? How do you keep that interest and focus so they still come back for the second half of the day and still have that morning spirit of, yeah, let's go, let's make money, when they've already put in a whole day, they didn't do nothing for half of it, and then they got to come back for their second half of the day.
Yeah, I found that hard. I found that hard. And so I changed this year not to do that. I have a morning crew and I have an evening crew if I need to go do evenings. But we try to leave overnight as much as possible. It's only if there's some kind of delivery distance that makes it kind of impossible to do that. But we try to leave them overnight. So I'm just dealing with Saturday morning and Sunday morning.
And yeah, I definitely thought about the process of hiring, like a morning drop-off crew and then a totally different crew for evening pickups. So that might be the best possibility in that. But on the other note you were talking about, of getting in and out of their yard because of that awkward feeling, we've noticed that there's a handful of kids, throughout every scheduled weekend that, aren't happy to see that unit go, and then they get upset. And we found that when we get the kids involved, whether it's walking out the units or putting the balls in the bags, that always makes the parents smile, and we get lots of great reviews from that.
Hey, when I do my hiring, I basically tell the guys that we have split shifts. The first half is to come in and work about 4 to 6 hours, and then the second half, is to work another 2 to 4 hours. But what I tell the guys, they get paid a minimum of 4 hours on that second shift, or anytime we work less than 4 hours, they still get paid a minimum of 4 hours. So, you know, you have certain guys who don't mind coming back in on that second shift, thinking, you know, hey, we can come in and get it knocked out and, you know, in 2.5 hours and get paid for 4 hours. So that's how I do it.
So I have something about this, if you guys don't mind me coming in here. And please don't take this the wrong way, but I feel like we're doing these things because we're afraid to lose a little bit of money or to pay somebody by the hour when they may not necessarily, you know, you may not necessarily need to. It's easier for me to just say I'm going to pay you by the unit, and so they only get paid if you make money. It's kind of like an insurance policy for us, but I do feel, and again, this is my opinion, as a business owner, you should take on the risk rather than putting it on your employee. You know, this is your business. Yes, there may be days where you pay, you know, for time that there's nothing happening, but I do feel that as long as you're doing these things, you're really, I mean, honestly, you're not, it doesn't sound like a business. It sounds like a side hustle. You're not treating your business like a business. Chick-fil-A is paying $15 an hour. How much are you paying? I can go to Chick-fil-A right now and apply. I know I'm going to make $15 an hour. With you, I'm going to make $120 a day. That could be $17 an hour. That could be $11 an hour. I don't know. In your mind, it's like, oh yeah, that's going to make them work faster. I've tried it, but at the end of the day, I find that people just don't come back to work. My experience, again, they don't see it as a real job. They don't see it as kind of like what Messiah said in the beginning, putting in procedures and making it a little more corporate, at least, to where they know, you know, I'm getting paid $15 an hour to work for Tariq rolling up bounce houses, where I could be getting paid $15 an hour to stand behind a fryer at Chick-fil-A in a kitchen. Or maybe I could get paid a little bit more at Chick-fil-A, but here I get to be hanging out with my friends. I mean, if you really think about it, most of their job is sitting in a truck, hanging around. The setup and takedown process is not most of the job, in my experience. Most of the time is sitting in a truck, in an AC, right? You got AC, as long as you give them AC, hopefully you give them AC. So I think that for me, I feel like it stunts your growth when you don't treat your business like a business, you know? When you're trying to take any shortcut you can to cover yourself, your employees pick up on that eventually. Hope that makes sense.
It totally does make sense.
That makes sense for you. And what I also did was, I mean, I also, because I from my business out of my garage, so I'm not that big. I got about, let's say, five combos, couple bounce houses, and a couple inflatable games, right? And so chairs and tables, of course. What I did was turn part of the garage, and I put a nice 55-inch TV, got a couch up there, got a table. I'm looking to put a little small refrigerator. There's an Xbox in there. So hey, when we have downtime, they can come and relax and stuff. So, but I am taking that to account, that maybe, you know, doing the 120 per day, I probably should go ahead and do the $15 an hour. That way, if it's like I think one gentleman said, if it's 10 hours, then they get paid for the 10 hours, and not just, making it go down to $11 for 10 hours an hour. That makes sense.
Hey, can I ask why do you guys are opposed to overnight rentals? I find that it's easier to do the overnight, because then I could book my day full of just deliveries, and then the following day, if I have not as many deliveries, there's only 5 deliveries, I could start my pickup. So I could still use the guys for 8 hours versus breaking up the day, and then you're screwing up people need to know what they're doing and when they're doing it. So we're running a business. It's not to their, it should be to their convenience, to your employees' convenience. You should factor that in. So I'm just saying, for me, it works better to do an overnighter, because then I know I'm working from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. and then we're tapped out. Then tomorrow we'll start again. We do the same thing. If we don't have many deliveries tomorrow, then we're just doing pickups. But it's from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. and we're out.
That helped us
overnight
with retention. Keeping our guys are a lot happier now that we do most of our stuff overnight.
Yeah. It's giving me my time back, because usually party's not over until late in the evening. 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the evening. So now to do 6, 7, 8 pickups, you're out till midnight, and and then you still got to load for the following day. So I was going crazy. It's like, when is this over? Like, let me just kill myself now. The overnights, and I got my evenings back. I could come back and literally barbecue, have a beer or something, strategize. It just makes sense.
Concern overnight was everybody's main concern is, well, what if we want to rent this? So we actually do not offer free overnight. We charge them for the overnight, $75 overnight fee. But for anybody who doesn't pay that fee, most of them don't pay that fee. We text them Friday and we just give it to them. Hey, great news. We've decided to give you overnight free. That sucks for the people that paid. But again, most people, rarely do we have somebody pay for overnight, but we do it that way so that they don't expect overnight. It's kind of a friendly surprise at the end. And most of the time they're ecstatic. They're very happy. We're like, thank you. Just leave a review. We appreciate it. And it's a surprise to them. It's a deal rather than expecting it. And then if there's a unit that's going out Sunday morning, and we usually have, maybe if I would say 10% of our Saturday units go back out again Sunday, so not many. But for those units, we do pick them up either that or we pick them up first thing in the morning, depending on where the route is, if we can make it.
Of course.
So that's one tip for us. For us, we do not offer free overnight. We charge for it. We text them all. Anybody, and we text them and let them know that surprise, great news, you're going to get it free overnight.
Yeah, Derek, before you guys continue, I think it's really important that no matter the side of your company, you should learn your state laws. Okay, it's really important that you even if you're small, start treating your employees the right way. Make sure that you are paying people the right way. Those people are sacrificing for you. So it's not only about I'm gonna pay them $200 for a day. If your state law prohibit that, you could be in trouble in the future. And trust me, if you start treating people, your customers, the right way, your company is gonna grow. That's you can't stop that. You're gonna grow. But if you as you grow, there's people that are gonna see you, employees are gonna see you. Oh, now you have money. So now you have, you have not been, I have been here with you for 2 years, and you have been paying me, this way, and the law say that you should be paying me this other way. So be careful.
That's definitely a good point. That's a whole nother conversation. Again, you guys are business owners, you can decide, but for the most part, there's a big discussion about, if they're using your equipment, you should be their employee, you should pay them hourly versus if they're using their equipment, they're a contractor and you can pay them differently. So that's definitely to look into. Big hot topic I know might come up right now.
Hey, Tariq, one thing you said about paying, I gave all my guys who came back this year raises. So, when you think about it, over an 8-hour day, if you give them a $2 raise, you're talking about $16. I mean, that if $16 is, then you got other kind of issues. If $16 is going to hurt you, but because to me, it's more valuable to me to know that I have a trusted guy that I don't have to worry about. I don't have to worry about them in front of the customer. I don't have to worry about don't stake the bounce houses correctly or whatever. They're going to do the thing the right way, and they're experienced and they've handled multiple situations. And so to me, it's better to pay on that because we had the same. I found out the hard way that we had the same situation. I was paying them. I started them out at $12 an hour because I didn't know what to pay people. And one guy came up to me and said, "Hey, I really like doing this bounce house thing because I get to work out and so forth, but I can go work over here at the car wash for they're hiring at $16 an hour." I'm like, "Dude, I don't want you to go and work at the car wash. Here's $17.50." So it was worth it to me to give him that extra money because they're good.
One thing we've done this year, Tariq, everybody's worried about the guys stepping up or whatever like that. And I'm fixing to have to get off here because I'm like at 11% on my phone. But one thing we have done is done a lot of one-man crew incentives where if they can set the equipment up by themselves and go, I pay by the hour. We pay $15, $17 an hour, but I give them a $5 to $7 an hour bonus for that day if they go set it up by themselves and it's cleaned and we get all the photos, they follow all the rules. And so, performance bonuses have started to work really well for us. These guys can go out and make 20, 24 bucks an hour. But it saves me a helper. And so, so I don't have to send two people on that crew either.
Yeah, we brand new crew last year. So we paid everybody $15 an hour. Anybody that came back this year, we automatically gave them $1 raise. So now they're at $16. They were ecstatic about that. We sent out a group text saying, who wants to come back, $16 an hour. And they were like, oh, say no more. When do I start? They were really excited, which I was like, okay, great. And then we hired a new warehouse manager. She's been with us for a while. We promoted her. We're doing profit sharing with her. And I'm hoping it goes well. But she decided that I mentioned it and she jumped on it, but we're basically offering a 50-cent raise every single month from May through, I think, September. But they have to have good performance, good attendance, all that stuff. And we've decided to do they can have X amount of, mistakes or whatever. But that's something they're very excited about. So I don't know if it'll work. I mentioned it in a post and everybody who's tried that or heard of that said nobody ends up getting it. So we're trying to give like a 3 strikes type thing, but we are trying kind of some incentive, some kind of raise because it's a different world. If you went 3 years ago and said a monthly raise, you're like, what? You do a yearly raise, it's like 50 cents. But right now the power is in the employee's hand, kind of like Al was saying. So you can't be, you gotta be aggressive, you gotta be competitive, otherwise you lose them. And I would rather invest, not lose. I'd rather invest an extra $1 or $2 per hour when I'm making $200, $300, $400 per unit than keep that money for myself and be stressing all Saturday long instead of spending time with my family because somebody's not going to show up. So that would
because you'll be rolling that bounce house yourself for the extra $2.
Not worth it. Not worth it. But then again, there are motivated sort of people who scare me. The people who are not motivated by money, who are, you offer them more money. That's where I need to know what motivates you. Do you want money? Do you want power? What is it that you want? But then those people who just don't care, no matter what you pay, those are the ones that they just got to go. They're just not going to last. So if you're motivated by money, that's great. I think that's a great employee because they'll do what they need to do to make more.
Yeah, I like that single man crew kind of incentive. I'm going to have to figure out a way to track that and do that. I like that incentive there too. It's a win-win.
Yeah, I guess
Another
I jotted that down as well. And also the 50 cents, just got to try to come up with a way to do it.
Yeah, don't let you guys, I'll tell you if something works. If I have numbers to prove it, I'll tell you. So I'll tell you guys next year when we do how it went. But for now, it's just a theory. So we'll see how it goes.
Hey, Tariq, I've implemented your bonus structure thing. So I give them a $25 bonus after they've done 25 setup and takedown. I give them $50 bonus after 50 and $75 bonus after 75. And then I give them a $200 bonus after they've done 100. So this, for me, because what I found is some of these guys get a little tired come August. And so I figure by August, they would have done maybe 100. And if I can keep them, for that long, that's kind of worth it for me. So, so I've kind of implemented this kind of bonus thing as well.
Very interesting. Have you? How long have you been doing that? How's it going?
I've got 2 guys that hit the 25 mark, and so they're excited about it, and they told everybody about it. So, and they're all tracking it. The guys, my main guys, all are excited about hitting that 100.
Wow.
So incentivize I have a lot less of this. Well, I'm not available this weekend kind of stuff. I have a lot less of that.
Those things are awesome. for those guys like me that are a little, how do you guys? I mean, listen, I'm still trying to figure out documents and stuff like that. What do you guys use for documents? Are you using like QuickBooks for your HR, and who's creating your documents?
I use QuickBook Payroll.
We did Quick Pay and Zelle and Venmo for a while, just whatever app they had. Then when we grew to a certain point, we started using an accountant that just direct deposit. A lot of them we direct deposit into their mom's account because they don't have accounts, but yep, whatever works. I'm gonna jump in real quick here. We started with some structure and we just have way too many people here, so it's not gonna work. So just feel free to unmute yourself and participate, ask questions. Looks like we're not gonna be able to kind of go through anybody. I mentioned 3 questions and we haven't even got through half the people with the first question. So we said we want to talk about hiring. How are you hiring? Where, what, how much are you paying? All that good stuff. Training, how are you training? And then retention, how are you keeping your employees? So everybody, feel free to unmute yourself, ask questions, or share your ideas or what's working for you, just because we're not going to be able to go through everybody individually. So who else, I guess let's say this, who has a hiring strategy that's worked very well for you? How are you hiring? Where are you advertising? How much are you paying? I want to hear opinions or what you think you're going to do or what you're going to try this year. But I guess maybe for some of you who've been around for a while, what has worked? What is tried and true that some of us can try? Al, I know you mentioned some things. What did you do last year, Al, that really hit home and worked for you with a busy year?
Well, I actually this year as well, but we are using Indeed. Indeed, I have to tell you, have bring us, really good people, especially, when you sponsor those positions, definitely, you have a really good amount of people, applying. But I think this is for everybody. We have all kind of crazy people as well, people that say, yes, super excited. You are paying me what I want. And then the next day when they are supposed to start, they never show up. We did have another guy that came to 2 interviews, 1 day of training. The next day he came, he said, do you have a refrigerator? He went to get his lunch in his car and he never came back. So yes, we have a bunch of crazy people, but for your question, indeed, I think somebody asked about trainings. We use jump train, and that have helped us a lot, to be more confident, hiring people, and put them, to see videos, and in 2 or 3 hours they at least have a general knowledge of what they are going to be doing.
Okay, so you use jump train. Great. I haven't heard about them in a while. Do they have updated videos? I know it's a lot of it is trailers and things like that.
No, I know they were bought by Titan Inflatables, and they're gonna revamp that platform. But yes, Tony bought all the content, and he's working to put it out there again.
Awesome. Do they have safety videos as well? I know there's Scioto. Jump Train has safety videos as well?
Yes, they do.
Very cool. I'll check that out. So I guess, let me ask you this, Al. What can you attribute your Indeed success to? So we know you use Indeed. Is it the way that you're writing out your ads? Is it the way that you're, how much you're paying? Are you comparing? Like, is it the title? Are you looking at what other people are so if it was me, I would kind of go through and see delivery driver. What's everybody else paying?
Exactly. Exactly. We went, one thing that I learned, I went and I looked first. I went as if I was looking for work, and I see what everybody was paying, but how they were advertising as well. And one thing that I have noticed, these have changed a lot. This now, hiring people is about marketing. You have to make it like they're gonna be working in Disney. This is the best experience ever. Oh my God, this is amazing. If you are telling them, the old, lines of this is a really hard job, but what you're gonna get. No, you have to make it really appealing for them. And it's not only us. If you go to, for example, to a gas station, you see that now they are not having that ugly paper that say we are hiding. Now they have a super amazing graphic, with people super happy working in a gas station. I don't know if you guys have been getting the Amazon ads on Facebook, but those ads, the Amazon hiding, they are amazing. The way that they put it is like, wow, this is you are gonna be working in NASA. So I think that's the line right now, is to make it sounds really cool. When they come here, we make them feel really, really comfortable, really special. Yes, we have a lot of questions in our interview process because we want to make sure that we hire the right attitude. We don't care if they know what they are doing or not, but we want to bring people that are going to add to the team, no people that are going to bring negativity to the team. But it's about that. It's about how you present everything, and think about the same way that you are attracting your moms or dad or schools or churches or institution for your company. Is the same way that you have to think about your next hiring.
What can you tell me about your interview process? What is that like?
Wow, that's a lot. We do have a lot of questions. We do use a process that we basically talk about how they will respond in different situations, because once again we are hiding attitude. We are asking them about different questions about different situations that they're gonna encounter in their job. We don't ask about anything basically related with our business. If no, it's mostly about how they're gonna react in different situations, of course, including have you ever, for example, questions like have you ever encountered a situation like you cannot do the job because it's too hard for you physically, things like that, and it have been really good for us. But we do have, I know our process is a little bit on. I think we have like 18 to 20 questions, but it is what it is. You want to know the people that you are interviewing. And by the way, in our questions, we have similar questions, asking in a different way, because we want to really dig in some areas of the character of the people that we are adding to our team. I hope this answered your question.
I think you've definitely given us a tip of the thread. You guys, this is really good information for you to kind of go do some research. Al can tell you exactly what he does, but like we said, every area is different. So go in your area, look at, like Al said, it's marketing. Look at some of what your competitors are doing, and they're not really your competitors in this area. Your competitor is Amazon and Chick-fil-A and all these places. So you need to look at what they're doing and focus on the areas where, hey, you get to be outside, you get to do this, you get to do that. So these are things that you may hate, but you got to kind of push it as a good thing. So thank you for sharing that. Do your research, guys.
By the way, Tariq, if I can ask one more thing, one thing that I have been doing and it have been really successful, guys, is in the morning, I look for box trucks, because we use box trucks, for box trucks in gas stations really early in the morning, especially Amazon drivers, FedEx drivers, UPS drivers, or moving companies, and I stop and I give them my business card. Hey, how you doing? My name is Sanchez, blah, blah, blah. We are paying $18 to $20 per hour. We would love to talk to you, if you want to add a little bit more money during the week. And the first time that I did it, I say, who am I to be talking to a guy from FedEx? And the reaction that I encountered from them, it was surprising. Oh my God, yeah, I'm gonna call you. And we have right now 3 Amazon drivers, ex-Amazon drivers, now working for us. So we are super happy for that. That is a strategy that could work for a lot of people.
Wow, look at Al taking on Amazon. Awesome. Very cool. All right, anybody else have any success tips to share? So you've been in business for a while. What has worked for you with hiring, interviewing, posting? What's worked for you to get a lot of people through the door? We're not talking about retention or training, just hiring. who has some success, who has had some success that they'd like to share? Come on, guys. I know you're holding out. Mark, good. How you doing, my friend? You've been in the industry a long time.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Hear you.
Because for some reason, your feed won't allow my picture to show in.
I seen you
I
earlier.
don't, yeah, and then I disappeared. It said the Zoom meeting won't allow video, but whatever. It really doesn't matter that. What I've seen, and actually just listening to everybody actually tonight, what hasn't really been said is we can use every marketing tool we want to get people to come, but the laziness and the not wanting to work, we cannot overcome that. It's impossible. I think what I'm seeing and I'm hearing within the groups, and we're all in these groups, it seems that employees want to tell us what we're going to do for them, or we have to work around their schedules. It comes down to, and I'm 19 years I've been in this, and these past 4 years have been extremely testing. Well, 3 years, let's say, where employees want to work at their schedule, work at their way that it should be done, not this is my business and this is what I want you to do. No, it's more like we're going to show up and we're going to do it. Okay, we're 15 minutes late, but that's okay. And this is the way we're going to do. And I want to touch on a couple things, and this hits my heart pretty hard. I believe it was Maurice might have said this one. I'm not sure, but I heard multiple people talk about overnight rentals. To me, I look at it like this: if you rent something for 4 hours from a tool store, rental place where you can rent equipment, you take it back in 4 hours. My point is, if you're going to take something, now everybody's demographics is different, and I totally 100% understand that. I 100% understand some people drive 30, 40 minutes to drop off a bounce house, or drive over the mountain if they're up in Kentucky to drop off a unit, and to go back over there would be unprecedented to do it the same day. I understand that. But when you're in an area like Florida, like I am, and you service a 15 to 20 mile radius, there is absolutely no reason why you cannot drop off in the morning and pick up that night. None. If it's the fact of, well, you know what, we're giving our guys the afternoon off, I can understand that to an extent. But if you have 9 units going out and it's a matter of dropping off all 9 of them, and by the time the 9th one is set up, you can turn around and start picking up the first one, then your employees work a full day, maybe 10, 11 hours, maybe less. And they walk home with a pocket full of money, and you get to get up and go to work the next day, not worrying about picking up all the rentals that you just left overnight that could have gotten into thunderstorms, gotten into hailstorms, gotten tore up by animals. There's a lot of things with leaving overnight that people don't discuss. They discuss the fact that they leave overnight because, well, we got the night off, we can have a beer, we can do a barbecue, we could go out with our family, we could do this, we could do that. No, we are a weekend rental company. That's what we are. And if you don't want to pick up the stuff at night, to me, I'm sorry, everybody, I call it lazy. That's exactly what I call it. Now, as far as
Mark,
the hiring
I'm going to it does. I don't think it has anything to do with lazy. And I think that there's probably a couple of other operators that do overnight that would be more than happy to chime in. It has to do about quality of life. Like I
Well,
want my guys to get to go home on the weekends and spend
That's it,
time with their
exactly.
kids while their kids aren't at
and
school.
I agree with you
Quality
because
of
you
life
are
comes
also an
first.
extremely large company, Jana, and I know this. People that have 3 and 4 trucks that do that many deliveries, absolutely, you cannot pick anything
But
up.
why say that even about smaller companies? Like Freddie's on here talking. If Freddie has 10 units, why can't he leave his stuff overnight so he's home with his kids on the weekend when that's the the
So what if that
time, the
unit?
fun
So
time.
what if that unit could be rent out the next day?
If so,
Then you
here's
flip
what I
it.
do.
Worry about how you're gonna
So
do
what
Here's what
if
I do.
no? Somebody just somebody somebody
Hi,
just
guys.
answer me. What if that unit could have been rented out the next day and no, you leave it
Why
overnight?
can't he pick it up in the morning? Why can't he start at 7 o'clock?
I do that
So
all the time.
why make your guys work that much harder the next day?
Hey, Mark.
Because they want to be home with their families. They want to have their Saturday night off. Most of them are young.
Hey, so
I
hey,
agree.
Mark. So, I'm a one-man show with my nephew and my daughter, and
Yes,
if
I'm very proud of you.
thank you. If I have a unit, which has rarely happened, booked the next day, I will go pick up that unit by myself. I'm not dragging my kids or my nephew out, but I leave my units out overnight because I have little ones. And I told my wife from the beginning when I first started this that any time that she wants me to drop this business, I'll drop it for her. My family comes before this business, and I love my wife and my kids to death. So honestly, spending time with them, it means way more than having to go pick up a unit. I'll wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning. I'll drag my kids out, my daughter out with me, 7 a.m. while they're still sleeping. They ain't got to deal with me. We'll go pick up. I'll be home by 10 o'clock. It's just, that's me. And I'm lazy. I want to be home.
Can I chime in? Because I'm kind of on lean a little bit towards Mark.
Why is Al Sanchez the only picture that's on my screen?
Hey, I'll show my face because I'm Moon Man.
I got scared.
What? I'm here.
I know you're the only one. Everybody else is talking. You're the only one that I see.
Because you like me so much. You are always.
You're exactly right.
Yeah, so I want to chime in on that. Yeah, I kind of agree with Mark a little bit. So if you're a one-man show, smaller company, there should be no reason that you shouldn't be able to get back out there. If you have 3-4 units only out there, you should be able to get back out there and get them. So this is a partial rebuke towards my brother, because I love him. And I do that, especially one, because I'm waking up early. So if I have a Sunday rental, I'm waking up at 6:30, 6 a.m. to get it delivered. So I can be at Bible study at church at 9:30 a.m. And that shows there is no excuse not to be at church for us. There's no compromise for me and my family not to be at church. And I work around that. Between 9:30 and 1 o'clock, the business shut down. You either get your delivery before Bible study and family worship, or you're getting after. So for me, if they're not running the following day, I'm picking them all Saturday because I'm gonna clear up my Sunday, and I'm gonna enjoy that Sunday with my family. So especially when we're first starting, we should be able to do this. We should be able to. If you don't have, if you're larger companies, I get. You're pushing 20 to 30 out on a weekend, and you have a bunch of crews. I get it. I get it. Not saying that I haven't left some overnight, but they've paid for it. I charged them extra for them to have it. I mean, they're 50 minutes away, and it's country out here, and I'm not picking up a unit while it's dark and there's cows and coyotes, and all that. But they do pay for that. So my idea is to get it picked up before that sun goes down.
I think that's the
I'm not
awesome.
here, I'm not here to knock anybody's.
You
I'm
get
not
to
here
do
to
it.
knock anybody's business model, but I don't want mine knocked either. Doing it overnight works for me. To each their own. You run your business how you feel it works for you. But I believe that my most important part of my inventory is my people. So, and with that said, that's why I think hours of work, whatever they might be, whether it's 10 or 4 noon to 8, whatever where you decide to run your business, that's your business. I find that quality of life to retain. The initial 3 questions that Tariq posed was retention. And I believe by the way that I run my business in New York City, I don't know about anywhere else, it sometimes takes 40 to an hour to get to one delivery. To have to go back after a full days of work doesn't work for my business model. So in order to get my people back at a reasonable time and still with their pockets heavy because they made, a nice day's pay, they got their tips and they're able to enjoy the rest of their summer and they're willing to come back next summer because it might have been backbreaking work, but they were also able to do whatever else they wanted to do. So, you guys that pick up that same day, I applaud you. I've done that many times in the past as well. I'm not opposed to either option, but for me right now, my business model works for me to leave it overnight. And yes, the customer pays for it. I'm not saying to do it for free. Why would we do it for free if we could make money from it? But I'm making money from it versus, not making money from it, and I'm keeping my time back. So, to each their own is all I could say. I commend you guys that pick up everything in the same day. I'm sorry.
I agree with that, Messiah. And Mark, I wasn't trying to be rude, but you can't just go on and say that makes somebody lazy like that. That was not cool. Like,
No, I think 100% people that do 20, 30 rentals in a day can absolutely not, unless they have the people, pick them up in the same day. I have always felt that small companies like myself, and I consider myself small because I'm in this 19 years, I'm nowhere near the size of Al, I'm nowhere near the size of you. I'm a licensed painting contractor of 32 years. Also, I work 7 days a week. So I understand you guys that have 4 or 5 delivery trucks, box trucks, your delivery times, your delivery amounts, the amount of rentals that you put out in a weekend. I understand it's totally different than anybody. Everybody is different with the rentals. Some people may only have 2 rentals in a weekend. Some people may have 7, 10. You may have 30, 40 a day. I can see, and I said that the demographics is different to everyone. In my position then, people that are smaller, I see no reason why they cannot pick them up the same day. Look at it this way. You got 9 rentals out and you say, you know what, we're going to leave them all overnight. And then on Sunday, you have 8 more rentals. You not only have to set up 8 more rentals, you have to pick up 9 more rentals. What is the difference if you pick those 9 up on Saturday instead of leaving them until Sunday, and you have only the few on Sunday that goes out and you have to pick them out? That is my point. That is my train of thought is, and I'll say it again so everybody understands where I'm coming from. If you set up 9 rentals on Saturday and you say to yourself, you know what, I'm just going to leave them overnight and I'll pick them up on Sunday. Let the guys have Saturday night off. Great. That's good. That's great for the guys. Then comes Sunday, you got 8 more to set up, plus pick up those 9. That's 17 units in the morning. Plus they have to go back and pick up them 8. So where's the difference? If they pick up those 9 on Saturday, then wait until pick up on Sunday.
The total time.
Setting up doesn't take the same.
Life. It's
where's their okay? I understand that. I understand what you're saying, Janet. But where's their quality of life then on Sunday if they have to pick up 17, where they can pick them up on Saturday and be done with it?
Yeah, but that's a choice though, Mark. What if they want to go to the movies with their kids? What if they want to take their kids
So it doesn't make
somewhere?
any sense then to me. Okay.
Well,
Then
that's
I'm
every
wrong.
situation. Everybody's situation is going to be different. I have plenty of
Right.
times where I'll flip a unit myself, but at the same time, if I were to try to flip every unit and have only day rentals, it would physically be impossible. And I am
Exactly.
small. I'm small.
I've done
I work
day
by
rentals for
myself with
19
three
years.
guys. Every
And,
situation is
and
different. Every area is different. Everyone has different delivery ranges, different number of units. You got to do what's right for you so your business works for you and it doesn't run your life.
Not only that,
Exactly.
but what about the fact that setting up a unit takes a quarter of the effort than picking one up? And then also, if you got 9 rentals set up and then you're picking up 9 at night to set up 8 in the morning, you're killing your body. At least for me.
Exactly.
I'm a heavy set guy. 360 glorious pounds. I'm telling you right now, after setup number 4, I'm on t-shirt number 3. I want to go home. I'm not picking none of these things up. And I got a power dolly.
Not only that, Mark, when we first started our business for many, many years, we did pickups the same night. We regret that. That is one of our biggest regrets, is missing out on that time with our kids. So that's why I'm passionate about it. That's why I get annoyed when I hear you say that that's lazy, because I don't want these new guys to think that anybody is going to think less of them, or that that isn't the way to do it, or that they should do it, a specific way because like that's the standard. Like everybody should be able to make their own decisions about what is best for them. Before, like right when COVID started, Tony Castle made a post about how overnight had been a game changer for him. And we had done 6 to 8 hour rentals before that. And, we were like, man, maybe we should really like look into this overnight, even if they don't pay for it. Because before we would charge. And again, like it was a game changer for our business, our quality of life, our employees' quality of life. And we weren't necessarily that big then. It's all about what you make of it. And I just want people to know that, there are options. One way isn't the right way. The other way isn't the wrong way. Alex Hoff just said, it saves you so much money in payroll, because back to what Al said a few minutes ago, he has an obligation to his employees. So if they start at 8 o'clock in the morning and they're expected to go back out and do pickups at, 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, he's paying them the whole time. I would never dream of sending my guys home unless they wanted to go home. I wouldn't dream of saying, okay, come to work for 4 hours and then take off for 3 hours and then come back 4 hours later. Like that's not how we roll. That's not a legitimate, in my opinion, legitimate job schedule. It's just not fair to them. So we figure out what works best for us, our business, what makes our employees the happiest, and that's what we go with.
There was one guy that said he had two crews. That, I mean, if you're big enough like that, that's kind of cool.
For me, my guys don't like working a full 8 hour day necessarily. They like the being able to work 4 hours and go do something. I find very few that I can work over the weekends that long, that duration.
Guys, before we continue, I want to say I know there's a lot of people hearing this soon, and plus the people that are watching, on Facebook. First, for those that do not know Mark Good, this gentleman is an amazing guy. That, by the way, I have been learning from him a lot. Mark is always first. He talks like that. Don't get offended with Mark. He's like that. Okay, this is not personal. Second one is he is really good. taking care of his equipment. I have learned a lot how to take care of the equipment. okay? The way that you clean
He
it,
should
the
learn
way
how to
that
take care of his people too. Then you can't
you
just take care of
maintain.
your equipment. It's just as important.
Excuse
People
me,
is
sir, I'm
just
so
as
sorry.
important as the equipment.
Yes,
So
I'm so
I
sorry.
understand where you're going. I understand we're not voting for a mayor right now. This is supposed to be a roundtable, and we shouldn't be attacking each other. Yes. So I'm glad that you put it for his vote.
Yes,
I don't mean
I'm
to
so sorry.
insult you, but this is a round table, and we should all be able to discuss the topics that we feel intimate about that Tariq brought up, and not have to feel like we're being attacked by it. And he mentioned that people are lazy. No. You can disagree, but he said people are lazy. So that's part of my
That's the
business
way.
model. So I
Okay,
take
moving on.
offense to it
That's
because
that's the way.
I'm not a
That's the way
lazy
that he talks.
person.
So don't get anything personal. Don't get
But don't
anything.
get offended.
Either way, let's move along.
Don't get offended.
I'm
It's
over it.
just
Let's
an
move
opinion.
along.
My point for the new people, and then I'm gonna move on this one, is that don't discard anybody in this call, especially Mark, because you can learn a lot from that guy. Mark my work. If you are not in this business, that gentleman over there have been delivering bank houses for 19 years. So learn from everybody what is good and what you don't like about that person. You just listen to that person and move on.
Okay,
Let me add this real quick.
It's true.
What Mark said, he didn't personally call anybody out, and it seems like individuals are kind of getting a little offended. And I think he's calling out the people that are actually lazy. If you're not lazy, this doesn't apply to you. As simple as that. It doesn't apply.
Verbatim repeated what I said.
I'm sorry.
Barbecues, beers.
I think we're kind of getting off topic here.
Yeah, because I think, Tariq, you're 100% correct. So I think what I said actually maybe could have been worded differently in one phrase. And I'll apologize to every single person in here for that one phrase only. And I am adamant about the way I feel about it. I'm adamant that I know everybody has different demographics and different deliveries and different ways of having to drive and different distances. I understand all of that. Where I'm at, I go by what I see in Florida. I don't know Kentucky. I don't know Tennessee. I don't know Georgia. I don't know where all you people are at and making deliveries and why you choose to do the things you do. We all look at it differently. We all try to do the best that we can for our business. And the ultimate goal is to do what we feel delivery-wise, paying our employees, hiring our employees, keeping our employees the best that we can in our own personal arena. That's the way we need to look at it, the way we need to deal with it, the way we need to do things. Down in Miami, it's completely different than it is where I'm at 2.5 hours north of him. 100% completely different. Over on the West Coast where Jan is at, it's different again. So everybody's demographics is completely different. We can all say we're running our business the same way, but when it comes down to it, we have to alter our business to where we're at. So I'm going to say it one more time, and then I'm going to stop talking. I did not mean to offend anyone by saying lazy. That's how I feel when I see these people dropping off on a Friday and not picking up till Sunday for the price of one day.
Oh, hell
That
no.
is lazy.
Oh,
Okay.
hell no.
People that drop off, people that drop off and have to leave overnight, I understand that. I myself have had to do that. But people that drop off on one day and leave it till the following day or the following morning to pick up for the price of one day are lazy. Sorry, that's the way it is. You're losing money. You don't need to be doing this type of business. If you're going to rent 3 days, 2 days for the price of one, you don't need to be in here. Period.
Well, I
And
agree.
Tariq is extremely smart with his content, with his reasons for being here. Maybe I shouldn't have said nothing, but that particular one topic really bothers me. And I think the rest of his topics are extremely well. And we should listen to what he says.
Tell us how you feel about wet dry combos. Let's hear it.
I do not do wet combos. I have no input on that. I only do dry combos.
Oh, you're missing out.
No, I don't.
Table.
I need to hear the why. I need to hear the why.
It's because you're lazy.
No, it's because
Are you
I don't
lazy?
do wet dry combos because one, I don't believe bounce houses need to be wet. I believe it's dangerous. Two, I don't want to clean up the mess. And three, in 19 years, I bet I have been asked 20 times for a wet dry combo.
Is this
20
guy a real
times
person?
All right, I'm
in
sorry.
my area.
To stop this conversation here,
Hey, I
guys.
gotta.
For your time. I'm so sorry. I'm muting everybody here just to move on. I love you guys. It's getting really late, so I want to get to the next part. Training and retention, guys. We've only talked about hiring. Unless anybody has a innovative, never before heard of way to hire people. We've talked a lot about hiring. So unless you have something totally new to bring to the table that we all need to hear about hiring, we're going to jump over to training. And I'm going to start first just to kick off the conversation. I told you guys how we hire training for our hiring and interviewing process. We tell them, listen, you come in, I look them straight in the eye and I say, listen, I can sit here and ask you all the interview questions, but I need to see you on the job. These are my top guys. In our company, we tried to have, levels, team leaders and all that. That didn't work for us, maybe because we're seasonal. We're not, like in Florida going all year round. So everybody pretty much has the same title, but they get paid differently. Everybody, they either alternate between driving and helping. So I tell them, I bring in a couple of my guys. I say, hey guys, meet this guy. He's applying for the job. They shake hands. I say, hey, I want you to head out with them. Go check out the job. Go on a couple stops and see how you like it. You may come back and tell me, Tariq, this is the best job ever. Where do I start? Or you may say, you know what? I thought this was for me, but it's not. That's our interview process in a nutshell. They watch him. If the guy starts helping and is interested and is fast, the guys come back and tell me, hey man, let's hire this guy. If he just stands there and watches and stays on his phone and doesn't communicate, doesn't socialize, then the guys tell me, this guy's kind of, not really our type, not our people. So that's our interview process. Training is very similar. We don't have too much official training. We just kind of send them out with the guys. I send them with my best guys 1 time, 2 times. I tell them basically you have 2 weeks. Within 2 weekends, I expect you to be able to be more independent. For that reason, we try not to do concessions, tents, tables. So we try to only this year, especially, we're sticking to the one thing we're good at, the one most profitable thing, bounce houses, water slides, inflatables. So within 2 weeks, if you still can't set up and roll up an inflatable with some help with another guy, we always have 2-man crews, then it's just not going to work out. And I rarely have to fire anybody. I just don't call them back for work. That's kind of our process. I tell them, hey, if you do good, you're going to get a call every week to come back to work. We do our route by Monday, Tuesday. We text all of our guys and say, all right, here's your hours. And that's worked very, very well for us. So that's kind of how we do our training. So I'd like to hear from you guys who has some innovative training ways that they'd like to share. How are you training your guys? How have you found that training them kind of gets them to be really independent and make you money and get you reviews very, very fast? So go ahead, guys. Again, great discussion going on. So I'm not going to call out any names. Just go ahead and unmute yourself and participate.
I got a funny one. So I have guys that actually make fun of me for it. And that's when doing tent. I mean, I do more tents than bounce houses, but I've literally put up Selena's how-to videos on certain style tents and literally let them watch it on the way to the job and then just throw them right in with everybody else. They got a quick visual. It's not perfect. But to be honest, they have a little bit of an idea, and I find that they're a little bit more comfortable actually jumping in just because they actually got to see something without me spending the time. And they're sitting in the truck anyway. I hand them my phone with a video playing and we get going.
Awesome. All right. So you're a fan of videos. So Al mentioned the training videos as well. Anybody else have any other training that they'd like to share? Any other training? How do you guys train?
With a whip.
The whip. All right. So I'm a big fan of, we use Inflatable Office. They have the packing lists. It shows everything that they need to get. So I used to use the app, right? I'm a guy like my wife for years. She's like, Tariq, you got to write things down. Like, why would I write it down and forget it at home? I got to use my phone. Man, was she right. When you start, I don't know, something about writing on paper. There's just something about it that works. So right now we installed a printer in our warehouse. We print the packing list. We have the guys physically scratch stuff off as they load them in the trailer. And we also have a general packing list for all stuff. So with Inflatable Office, it'll automatically tell you, this unit needs this blower, this tarp, this many stakes, but it doesn't tell you need a dolly. It doesn't tell you need, wet rags or cleaning supplies. It doesn't tell you, these things. So I put together a general packing list, which I can share if you guys are, I can put in the comments here in a bit, but that really has helped us. We laminated it, and every time the guys pick it up, they go through it, they pack their stuff, and then when they return, they just put the whole clipboard back. So that's really helped us with training. And again, because we used to do tent, we were huge on tents. We did really well with tents. We did photo booths at one point. It was really, really hard to train. I got to have a tent crew, photo booth crew, bounce house crew. We decided to get rid of all that and just do the one thing for us. That's really helped us with training, because I don't have to train them on 6 different things. I just have to train them on the one thing. So that's really helped us. I'll grab that document right now and share it with you guys in the chat. Anybody else do anything like that with training? Anything innovative? Anything besides just, hey, ride in the truck with me and watch what I do?
Yeah, this past year, during our slow season, man, I actually would have the guys, go out and set up units there at the warehouse as if they was going to like the customer house. And I would position a generator, out there and say, okay, hey, this here's the customer's, back door, I want the bounce house space in their yard, and we would do setups like that just as far as training. And I think that kind of worked out for me going into this year here, just kind of reassuring the guys, because when you're at the location, you're just trying to get there and get everything set up and move on to the next one or whatnot. And so basically we were just doing like our 2-piece combos, regular bounce house. If you can't get that in a couple of weeks, then there's something wrong. But on a lot of our like 2-piece units that we got to connect and obstacle courses, I spend more time on training on that, just doing a slow time, just to give the guys hours.
All right, thank you for that. Anyone else?
At 8 o'clock in the morning, and they're
All right, so let's jump over to what I'm most interested in, retention. Since we talked about how you're getting people in through the door, how you're interviewing them, how you're training them. Now, how do you get them to stay? How do you get them to stay after the first week, after the first month, after the first year? So what are some things you guys are doing to keep people going? Last year, we had this roundtable discussion. A lot of you guys were there. And I heard some pretty silly things I thought were silly, but they actually made a huge difference on our business. Jana actually mentioned popsicles of all things. I kid you not, guys. We had a warehouse for 2-3 years, didn't have a microwave or a fridge, but hey, we went and we bought a little mini fridge. We threw some popsicles in there. Huge difference, huge difference. We put snacks in there, drinks, just Gatorade. Doesn't cost us much in the grand scheme of things. But that, when I first heard that, I was like, really, Jana? Like popsicles, that's how you keep your guys? They feel appreciated. They're excited. Like before they head out for the day, after they load up, they all kind of make a line by the fridge and they start grabbing things for each other. And we pay for that, right? They just feel like it's not just a boring job. They feel appreciated. They feel kind of, it's just something to look forward to, I guess. It's those little things that has really helped us. So highly recommend you guys get snacks for your guys. Another thing we started doing was a weekly raffle. I posted about this a few times. If a customer mentions your name in a review, right? With Event Hawk will automatically send out the review to ask for a customer. Unfortunately, a lot of times they don't mention the name, right? Or it's too hard for me to sit there and go through the reviews and see whose name they mentioned. So for our guys, we printed business cards that are blank on the back. And they kept complaining like, Tariq, I can't get people to leave a review. I'm like, listen, write your name on the back of this business card. After you're done with the setup, shake the customer's hand and say, listen, I would really appreciate it. It would help me if you left a review. They're doing a raffle. It's kind of like leaving a tip. Nobody wants to leave a tip for a business, but you want to tip the waiter because the waiter is a person. So when you shake that person's hand, and I tell them, shake the customer's hand and say, listen, I get a bonus if you leave us a review and mention my name. here's my name, and they both write their names on the back of that card and they give it to the customer. I kid you not, guys. We get reviews that mention, when Mike and Tom dropped off our bounce house, they were amazing. And when Shane and Josh picked up the bounce house, they did really good. They mention everybody's name because they write it on the back of the business cards. They make a point to mention it. And then every Saturday before the guys head out, sometimes we push it till Sunday, we do a raffle, and it's anything from $20 to gift cards to just something for them to look forward to. And I mentioned to you guys, we have them all download the Google My Business app on their phone so that they can take pictures and stuff. They get the reviews on their phones because of that, right? We add them as employees. We give them employee access or manager access on Google My Business, and they get the reviews, and they're like, they see their friends' names in the reviews, but not theirs. Gave them some motivation to really help build a culture. And again, this is all accidental stuff. All the stuff that I tried to build a culture in our business and get retention honestly did not work. This stuff all worked by accident and by listening to some of you guys. And it has really built a culture. I hear the guys talking all the time about the raffle. Like, oh, this week I'm gonna win. This guy won the last 2 weeks. He's always getting the reviews. I wonder what he's doing. I'm gonna ride with him. They start to have these conversations about work. They're excited, and all that helps. So those are the things that we've done in addition to giving raises, giving bonuses. As far as titles, we haven't done anything like that, or we have, and it failed and it never worked. We basically are a team effort now. We don't have titles or anything like that, and it's been going pretty good. So who's been really good at retention, keeping their guys from quitting? What are some things that you're doing that get the guys to come back day after day, week after week, year after year?
Overnight rentals.
Night rentals.
No, seriously. no, seriously. Just trying to give them a break up the hours. I usually have my guys work, Friday, Saturday, Sundays, and Mondays. We try to do our deliveries on Fridays and Saturdays. Even the Sundays deliveries, we may try to deliver them early and then pick them up on Monday. So, versus working later on into the evening. And similar to what Jenna, I saw the post that she put up last year about the popsicles and whatnot, and we kind of did something similar to that, where we were giving out Gatorades and waters and snack packs and things of that nature, and gift cards for the reviews. We haven't gotten many reviews, but that's something that we're hoping to use moving forward.
I have to agree. It was very surprising for me how many 18-year-old football players have a stomach ache every Saturday night when it's time for their shift. And I'm like, seriously, bro? So no, I have to agree. Ever since we started doing overnight, a lot of more overnights, our guys do, enjoy that they don't have to come because they're young. They want to go out with their friends at night. And like Mark said, honestly, Mark is right. And I do feel that he's, you have to adapt. Mark said something about, these employees want to tell you how to run your business. Yeah, they do. You know why? Because it's an employee's market now. It's they have the power, and you get to choose. Either you adapt and be competitive and offer them not necessarily more money, just different perks, or you just kind of stay the same and you stay a one-man show for a long time. It's their market, and you have to make it competitive. So that's one thing we did. We do very few pickups in the evenings, and our guys are happy that they don't have to go out and work at night. They get to go hang out with their friends because a lot of their friends aren't working. That's the thing. A lot of these guys, their parents give them an allowance more than I would pay them, and they have no reason to work. So when when a lot of their friends are sitting home playing PlayStation all day and they're working, they want to at least hang out at night with their friends. So being able to have that night off is definitely a good perk. Jana, what do you got to share this year? Jana, I know last year you mentioned the whole popsicle thing you were giving out. What else you got? Anything new to share this year? You've been very quiet except for the Mark thing, so please share.
We do that popsicle still. We do snacks. We do Crocs, like Croc tennis shoes, Light Rider Croc tennis shoes for everybody. That's like a hot topic. The guys are like, oh, I heard I get a pair of shoes or whatever. Just things like I do. Yep, I do. Every time somebody starts, what size shoe do you wear? And I mean, it goes over well. Everybody looks good. Everybody has their toes covered. They're not sliding in and out of their Crocs or their slides or whatever. These shoes are meant to get wet. And everybody loves them. So that's just kind of been, our thing.
Interesting. Do they have to stick around a certain amount of time before they keep them, or?
No, they're like $40. I mean, I don't care. If you're that hard up for a pair of shoes and it doesn't work out, it doesn't hurt my feelings.
Anything else to share as far as how you guys have been hiring, training, retaining? You mentioned, I saw your post about felons, hiring felons. Hot topic. Why did you post that? Do you have any felons that work for you right now?
I do. My one of my main guys who has been with us 2 years. He's a convicted felon. He came to us from another party rental event company. And we were super hesitant, but I mean, great guy. Like, we trust him. We've had no issues. Hard worker. Pretty much everything he had been in trouble for, had been when he was younger. A lot of it was when he was a minor, and he went ahead and disclosed that information to us. And then we had last night we got another application from someone who disclosed that they were, a convicted felon and had only been out of prison for like 1.5 years. And so it just got me thinking, like, I know we've done it before, but, it's good conversation. Like, what do other people think? What has their experience been? I always feel like we can learn from each other. And so that post was really enlightening. Like, I got a lot of private messages about people's own personal journeys, business owners that are felons, all kinds of things. And I just felt like, it's something that we should talk about. We're all struggling. So if it's something that, maybe we should reconsider, we had went as far to look into, like, so when we do schools, our guys have to be level 2 background checked. And so, we went to find out what type of like felony charges would exclude them from passing those background checks. And so that was another reason that, I had kind of asked that too, because it was, it's always on our mind or whatever. And it's just, something that isn't regularly discussed. And I felt like, I was curious,
Is there a place you can, again, a lot of, like you said, there's a difference between a felon and a sex offender, and, every state has different, it's not all the same. And I guess, depending on your views, but I wonder, do you look for any programs that help out felons, or have you done anything like that? Are you considering anything like that?
We, there's a couple of churches that we work with that have, like, I don't want to say like halfway houses. They're like, I don't know. They have like programs that help reintroduce, people who have been in jail for, a long time or prison into society. They'll send us somebody every once in a while. I'm really picky, so most of the time I just pass. But this particular guy who applied yesterday, it was just one charge that he was charged with when he was 21 years old. It was a burglary charge, which at first I thought, no way, but as I looked into it and I discussed it with him and got the details, and then looked up the court records, and there was like a newspaper article about it, it all kind of started to make sense. Like, it wasn't aimed at some random person. It was, somebody in his circle of friends, and, just different extenuating circumstances that I remember what it was like to be young. You know, I had friends that were getting in trouble. So it wasn't like a totally bizarre, you know, walked up to somebody's house, kicked in the door, had a gun. You know, it wasn't anything like that. It was, you know, a more isolated incident or whatever. So that's what piqued my interest, because even though it was a charge that I normally wouldn't hire somebody with, it was a different type of circumstance. He was young. You know, there's plenty of information to back up everything that he was telling me, and you know, I don't know. We'll see.
Very interesting. Well, yeah, I guess, you know, you can't be picky in this market. So if they're looking for another chance and they're willing to try, then definitely, I guess, like you said, you know, it's not, you want to look at murder or burglary, or look at the situation. So kudos to you for actually looking into it versus just passing judgment or completely not looking into it. But yeah, no, that's a good point. Definitely do the research. All right, so we have a few less people now. So anybody else have any questions? So why don't we turn it around? If nobody else has any tips to share, why don't you guys share kind of maybe some questions? What are your hiring, training, or retention struggles? And we'll see if we have any ideas or experience with anything that you guys can go with.
I have a question on that. I have a landscaper that I'm actually related to, and he openly discusses seasonal unemployment with his employees. I don't know if anybody pushes that, if they discuss that when they're hiring somebody. I know, like myself and Tariq, we have pretty big off seasons. I don't know if anybody even broaches the topic or not.
So I guess you're talking about laying them off in the off season so that they can collect unemployment.
Yeah, I mean that's what he does, and I didn't know if it's something I should be discussing with them, saying, you know, at a certain point, if we're slow, you know, we have seasonal unemployment. You know, this is how it works. You'll get this, like, kind of be like an open book with it. Or I know I can't keep a big crew busy all winter because I don't have it.
My accountant actually recommended this for me. He says he has a lot of snowplow businesses that do that. They only work for like 2 months out of the year, then they lay everybody off and they collect unemployment for a good amount of the year. So I'm not sure. From what I recall, it is legal, you know. But the only reason we didn't end up doing it is because of the whole. They have to be W-2 employees to begin with. So you'd have to be. We offered it to you know, to our people who we, you know, they can't just be, if you have, everybody has to be W-2s, and not all of our people are W-2s. So you just have to keep that in mind. They would have to be W-2 employees for you to do that, from my knowledge, because otherwise they're technically independent contractors. Anybody else have experience with unemployment? I know that was a nightmare last year. We got a few letters saying so-and-so is collecting unemployment now. I'm like, dang, should have never put them on. All right, open floor, guys. This is a big, you know, if you're newer to the industry, this really is the toughest part. In this industry, growing is not hard. It's really growing and keeping your sanity. That's what's hard. So any questions on hiring, training, retention, anything like that, this is the time. Facebook is great for, you know, posting, but a lot of times you get vague comments without too much detail. So you have some pretty experienced people here who've made tons of mistakes and been through mud that you can ask. So do not hold back.
I know I asked a question in the chat. We're kind of new to this. We just started. This will be our first season. But when did you guys start to hire employees? When did you notice you started needing them? Was it by, you got so many units and you said, well, starting to have more employees to move these units, or was it, I have so many people renting these X number of units that I have, and I just need to have more people moving them for me?
As soon as you get tired. No, seriously, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Every day I'm wrong. I think, there's not a right answer for that. As soon as you think, you can, afford them. Remember, I remember the first time that I hired, my first full-time Joseph, I'm sorry. I was so freaking nervous. I said, like, oh my God, I don't know if I'm gonna be able, to pay, his salary every week. Man, it was, the best decision that I ever did. Remember, if you want to grow your company, on my point of view, the place that you're gonna make more money is behind the phone, calling clients, making sure that everything is running okay, and coordinating everything. If you are on the field all the time, you cannot see the big picture. So even if you're small, this is not about being big or small. It's about, to have that mentality from the beginning to, I need to have the right people in place in order to grow my company, to the point. I hope that answered your question.
I agree with Al on that. I don't think that there is necessarily like any set time, but I always tell people this, that it's really important, to remember and to factor in, like, if you're a one-man show and you're doing everything yourself, Al said, like, your phones are going to suffer, all of these things. But in addition to that, like, if this is, money that you use to support your family and you rely on it, what happens if something happens to you? If you break your leg, if you fall off the trailer, if you get into a car accident, and you're the only person working in your company, I always recommend, when somebody says, I want to hire somebody, I need a helper, hire someone that is capable of being your equal, that can drive the truck, that can back up the trailer, that can do everything that you need to do. So when eventually you transition, you already have like your A game person in place, and then you can build a team from that. But that was like always a thing. I've seen tons of operators, get hurt or injure themselves, and their businesses suffer. And, some of them can recover from it and some of them can't, but they have all their eggs in one basket and they're a one-man, show doing everything themselves. And then something catastrophic happens. So the sooner that you can get someone, to help you, and you can afford that, the better off you're going to be and the faster that you will grow.
How many full-timers do you have, Jana and Al?
Right now, I'm super short-handed. I have
like full-timers where you're like paying them round.
Sure.
Like,
I have 7. Yeah, I have 7 full-time employees, 1 part-time, and then I have my virtual reservationist or whatever, and she's full-time as well.
And you,
so
Al?
technically
8. Wow.
On our case,
I have 6.
To be honest, Blanca, basically everybody with us is full time in Florida. I think this is federal as well, but in Florida, it's 35 plus hours is considered full time. But for us, we have been paying so much overtime that we need people. So I cannot tell you that I have anybody that is part time right now, because everybody is overworked.
I have one guy that can only work Saturday and Sunday. If I could, I would pay him so much more if I could just convince him to leave his job. But that's not going to happen. So I take what I can get. But yeah, we're struggling. Like, I really need like 5 more people right now. Like Al said, we had a guy who reached out to us from said he worked for a inflatable company for like 8 years in another state. He reached out to us. He didn't he found us on Facebook. He didn't apply through an application or anything like that. I was so excited. We called him. He was going to come in for an interview, a working interview, and he never showed up. I was devastated. I'm like,
that's what I wanted to hear, because I'm paying so much overtime. Like, I've only have 2 guys in the warehouse, and I have 2 office people, and it's like, and us too. And it's like, I'm paying so much overtime. Like, damn, it's hard though for us right now. That's why I'm asking.
It is. Everybody that will work overtime is working overtime right now with us.
I totally understand what you're saying, Blanca. Definitely, we are in the process to getting more people. What Jana said about having somebody that is only willing to work, I don't know if I misunderstand, only Saturdays or something like that, or Saturdays and Sundays. I hope I can get more people like that, because can you
yes.
if you can get 5 guys that they only can work Saturdays, perfect. You have now 5 more people on Saturdays.
Oh my God! Yes, yes, yes.
So I'm really open to get anybody that have the right attitude, but but it's really at least to work one day. I don't care. We put them to work. We train them well. That's it. I make everybody happy. We want people to show up every day to work happy, smiling. Oh my God, I like to be here. We don't want people that are like overworked, and sometimes I'm really nervous, because I think we are pushing our people too much, and if they quit,
I know.
It's really hard to
I have a question for you, Al. You said that you were having success with Indeed. I've had 0 success with Indeed, but I wanted to know if you had an account rep that helped you create your job, sponsor it. I spent like $2,000 and got horrible. I don't even think there was one functioning person.
Well, I think it's like always, it depends of the area and whatever. I gonna share what I'm using with you, but just for your eyes, as respect of other people that have shared with me as well. But I'm gonna share what I'm using with you, and we see that have been working for us. But yes, sometimes I notice that if I don't sponsor my ads, I don't get any traction. But after, like you say, after spending so much money and hearing my wife screaming at me because of the money that we were spending, right now I'm super in top of that. So as soon as I have 7 or 8 people, I post the ad, so I can interview everybody, make sure that we don't have anybody there. We have people that are good, really good. Yeah, I'm using the 24 hours, so I'm trying to interview everybody, in 24 hours. If they are not a good match for us, I click, the no, we are not interested in this person in Indeed, so we don't have to pay for that person as well. Because if not, they're gonna kill you. At least for Miami, it's $11 per lead. So $11, it's a lot.
Hey guys, Lisa wrote in the chat just now, can someone answer their opinions on contractors versus employee W-2? So in the state of Florida, it's 3 or more, I think. And they're considered employees, and you have to have workers' comp. Anybody that you're telling where to go, what to do, where to go, they're using your equipment, they have a schedule, they're an employee. Like, if you get audited by the state, you're gonna be fined. Like, it is, I'm pretty sure it's the same thing across the United States. Anybody that you're giving direct orders to that's using your equipment, that has a schedule, is considered an employee.
Even if they are driving their own truck, by the way, if you are telling them what to do and how to do it, they have to be W-2. if you don't tell them, your people, where to go and how to do it, how they're gonna do it? So about that, like Tariq said, this is a really hot topic. There's some great areas in certain areas in the United States that you can work it differently. So for me, my recommendation is to read the law in your state.
Anybody wants to talk about workers' comp? Because I am very interested in talking about workers' comp. Just, I know this is not probably the topic though, but I do want to talk about workers' comp
Yeah,
because I really need it.
For me, Blanca, I'm using Paychex Flex, and they provide me with extremely cheap workers' comp. I'm super glad. Paycheck have different, services. The Flex one, they offer, workers' comp and different things there that are extremely affordable. I was surprised. By the way, I was quote close to $6,000 monthly for compensation. Okay, but now with them, it's super cheap. So
I know, Jana. I think Jana
look
gave me one, but I didn't like the quote, Jana. I honestly did not. It was so much.
I'm doing the same thing Al's doing. I just literally got my workers' comp report today in the mail. It's and like Al, it was outrageous through and part of that is Florida. We're considered, like, our class here is like carnival or something ridiculous. So we pay, if we get a like a private policy, it's absurd. But my rates through Paychecks are super affordable.
I know. I contact the guy that you gave me. What's his name? Chris.
And
he's still so much, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to just do it.
Well, you gotta spend money to make money, my friend.
I know, but it's like it's so much. It's like we're talking about 6,000.
Yeah, but it can be so much if somebody gets hurt.
Yeah,
I know.
Blanca, and be careful because they always gonna offer you the high end stuff, quote unquote, no, and it's gonna be really expensive. But if you ask them, no, I want PayPal Flex, what you can offer me there, that is a different story. Is a lot more cheaper because what they do is they put you in a pool with thousands of companies around United States. Now you are like in the same insurance, in the same insurance for all those companies. So it's pennies.
I know,
to
but it's
be
because
honest.
Medium gave me
Super
another company called Next or something like that, Next, and it came like 1,200, and I'm like, what? So I thought it was gonna be close to that, but I don't know.
Let's do a sidebar, tomorrow, private,
Yeah.
so we don't hijack the meeting. All that.
I know.
Well, I want to say thank you for everybody and all their answering my questions and stuff like that. Al, I messaged you separately. Maybe if you can message me back, that would be great. We're gonna get off. Thank you. I really think this is a great thing to do with everybody.
I
And
know.
I look forward to the next one and talking with you guys again. So thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Bye,
Have a good
Joe.
night.
Definitely a great topic. Thank you guys, everybody who participated. Any other questions before we call it a night? Anything to add?
I just want to have a question, Tariq.
Go ahead.
Like, I'm having an issue with like scheduling like full timers. My full timers, like, now that we don't have hardly, well, we're gonna start working in April probably. Our work starts, on April, but it's just the schedule we were talking, and I was gonna chin in, but I'm like, I'll rather hear it. Like a firm schedule, you know what I mean?
Blanca,
Or
we
they-
tell our guys that, I mean, unless we tell them something different when we hire them, but everyone that we interview, we try to get to commit to Thursday through Monday.
Okay.
Like Thursday through Monday, we're like, hey, it can be 7 to 5 or whatever. We take volunteers to work late. So like if we try to leave everything overnight, but as schools and churches and that kind of stuff start to trickle back in, we find ourselves doing, having some pickups that we have to do. But we
And this is
really
for
try to get full
this is for
time.
full timers, right? Like when you hire full
Full-timers.
timers.
Thursday through Monday. If they want to work Tuesday or Wednesday, those are optional. We'll always tell them they can work. We'll never tell anybody no. So I have a couple of guys that want to work 6 days a week, every single week, and so they get every overtime every single week because I need them pretty bad.
Right,
so I'm
right.
like, let's do this, fellas. But that's what we ask for a commitment, and that way, you're kind of setting like a level of expectation there. You can get your cleaning done. If you have other stuff, we have summer camps that we're starting to schedule. So we're asking for like, volunteers or whatever to work specific days, like Tuesday and Wednesdays, which we don't usually require.
Okay, got it. Nice. Got it, Jada.
Feel it.
I mean, I have a question, but it's totally off topic. Mind, Tariq? No, it's just about it's about best practices for travel fees. Like I'm torn between my travel fees right now. So I don't.
Me too.
I'm just looking for recommendations and
Oh,
suggestions.
I know, Jana. You are.
Struggle. I'm on the struggle bus with that Messiah.
Okay.
But hey, Al probably has some good info because I saw his post on Facebook. It was like free delivery everywhere with a minimum order or something
I
like
know.
that.
I want to hear that. I want to hear that.
Damn.
Tell us.
I want to hear that.
That is an experiment that we are doing right now. It's not completed yet.
Is it? Hey, let me ask you a question. Al, is it where it changes the price? Like you have it at 100, for example, you have it at $100, and then once the travel fees, like I don't know, 30 miles away, it changes the prices or something like that.
No, what we do is we have minimum orders per cities, zip codes in sometimes, so they have to reach that that minimum order in order to receive free delivery. Be honest, I have to tell you, it have been, we have been trying this for a couple of weeks now, with great results. Remember, you have to watch changing your clientele, okay, your clientele.
Yeah,
So
I know.
you have to be willing to have some kind of that change when people, then those people that were accustomed to pay less for your stuff are gonna leave, but the ones that you really want are gonna come back, so or are gonna come and gonna stay with you. So it's the way that we have it is, please don't feel that I don't want to share it. That is not the point. It's so complicated because there's so many moving pieces. It's not only about the minimum order. It's about so many things that work at the same time that is kind of complicated to share it, in 5 minutes.
I think I'm gonna do that in my codes.
I might get some flack for this, but right now I charge $25 no matter what. From 30 mi up to like a 30 to 30 mile radius from where I'm at, from my zip code. So if you're 5 miles, even if you're 5 miles from me, your delivery charge is $25. And if you're 30 miles, it's $25. And my customers seem to love that.
Do you have any minimum order?
So my
Do you have minimum
minimum
orders, Maurice?
for my tables and chairs, yes. But for everything else, no, because I guess typically my water slides are already $300. My combo units are 300, or the cheapest is 265. So
Okay.
I'm already at, my ticket order is typically already at 300 most of the time.
I think the most important thing is before, we think about how much I'm gonna charge for delivery or for even for my unit inflatables, is to identify what is your cost per delivery. That is super important. If you know your numbers, if you know how much it costs me to go from my warehouse to 50 miles from my warehouse, come back, return the same night or the next day, and come back and clean that unit and have it ready for the next rental, as soon as you have that number, now is when you can start making decisions. Before that, we are guessing, and trust me, I did it for so many years, guessing all the
So
time.
how many miles do you have for free, Al? Like how many miles for free? 25, 30?
We covered, all Miami for free, and then we have some. At the moment, we have some full subchargers after after we pass in Miami.
So how far, I'm not familiar with Miami. So when you say free delivery to Miami, like what is the longest distance that could be, and like what's the time frame it would take, like on an average day? I know, I'm sure like traffic is crazy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that Miami is about the traffic. So, but we are talking about between 20 to 25 miles in a radio, something like that.
okay. Okay. And do you have a minimum order for that area?
For everything, even for next to my warehouse, we have minimum orders.
What's your average
minimum order?
It's per city. I'm not gonna share that in Facebook. Nah.
Smart.
Very
smart.
But yes, if you go to my website and you create, a dummy order, you're gonna find out that stuff. But yes, we do have minimum orders, and we create, we learn our numbers. We learn, how much it costs us, to move our truck from here to there. All that process that I just explained, plus all our cost of operation, they have to be there as well. Because at the end of the day, guys, if you're not making money,
then it's not worth it.
have you ever worked, on a weekend? So many hours,
Yes.
and on Monday or Tuesday, you say, "Where is the money?"
Yeah.
You're not charging enough. You're not charging enough. If that is the case, that, by the way, happened to me so many times, then you are not charging enough, and you have to review your costs and then charge accordingly, and create some different strategies that put you on the market, in a different position. By the way, guys, I'm not an expert in anything, okay? So don't listen to me. You do your own, research. The only expert here is, Tariq and Jana.
I know.
I am no expert.
No. I'm
me
trying to
neither.
learn from you, Al.
We're all learning.
Yep.
It's funny. I feel like a lot of you newer guys have a big opportunity now, because if you've been in business for a while, you've already been doing things a certain way. After COVID, everything changed. It used to be when
yeah.
if you're new, you're starting fresh. A lot of people like us who've been around for a while, we have to transition and adapt and change things. Like, honestly, like what Mark was saying, it's hard for him. But, with COVID, a lot of us have had to switch to overnight rentals and stuff. But for you new guys, it's like, all right, let's offer overnight rentals. No big deal. So you guys definitely have a easier time with that kind of stuff. So starting a business around COVID or just before COVID or right after COVID, you guys are have a good hand there. I don't know if this helps for the delivery fee question, but we realized during COVID how busy it was, so we downsized our delivery area big time. We only, and don't do what I'm doing, but for my area, for my population, we're in a very heavily populated area. We only delivered to 15-mile radius, only 15, not 50. We used to do 50. We used to do 50. We got smaller and smaller. Now we only do 15-mile radius, and we charge delivery fee $59 for the first 10 miles, and then $79 from 10 to 15 miles. anything beyond that, they can try to order online, but it doesn't allow them to auto book without our permission. So that's worked for us. We've raised our prices. We're able to the most we drive between stops is 15 minutes now, tops. A lot of times it's 5 minutes. So it's just made life a lot easier, because if you've been in business anytime at all in the off season, you get excited, you take an order that's an hour away, and then come the busy season that somebody wants that same item 5 minutes away, and you're like, oh man, I should have never booked this. So I learned after doing that for 2-3 years that, hey, there's plenty of business nearby. So our Google ads, we really just set them really high. We pay, we bid very aggressively so that we want all the work in our little area. And it just makes it easier for us, for our guys, for our gas, payroll, everything is better that way. So that's really a big thing. Again, don't do what I'm doing just because we have a big population. So you have to look at your population and see what works for you, but that's really helped us.
I think the dream, for everybody is to work less and make more money. So always look, how you can make that happen. That is part of our strategy right this year, is to work less and make more money. So what Tari said, is amazing. If you can do that, that will be great.
So. All right, so any other questions? Anything to add? You guys in the Eastern time zone, you guys are very committed. Thank you for sticking around. I know Jana, Al, Messiah, I'm sure some of you other guys, I know this is it's late, but you guys are committed. You guys are the ones that are going to win this year. You're committed, you're here to learn, you're here to listen. Great job, guys. It's going to be another great year. Keep an open mind.
Who won the water slide?
What was that, Blanca?
Who won the water slide? From
Not me.
6 more days. We're announcing the winner 1 week from today, right, Jenna? Tuesday?
Oh, shoot. I thought it was already.
Nope. 6 more days.
Not yet. Okay.
Okay. Tariq, tell me what I need to do to enter my name in a couple more times.
Hey, how can I get 5 times myself in there?
Oh,
You
man.
guys need to go to the group and
yeah. You guys didn't go to the Event Hawk members. All those challenges are in there. Every day we've been posting a new challenge.
Yeah, I've been seeing those. Tariq, I'm still small, man. I don't have t-shirts and a team yet, man. I'm trying to get there.
You can take a selfie. You count as your team.
Okay. All right.
Picture your favorite unit. You got a favorite unit? That's easy.
I do.
Yeah, there's like no hassle at all.
Yeah. I'm just teasing. I'm just teasing.
Get in, man. Get in. 1 more week, you might have a new Corona bound. I'm excited about my Corona bound stuff. I'm excited that it's light. So I'm hoping if it's light, I'm like Al was saying, we want to work. I mean, quality is important, but for us, man, our guys, I don't know what kind of guys you guys got in Florida, but our guys complain about 300-pound units. So getting those 350, 400 pounds is just not going to work for us. So we're light. So I'm excited to get those in.
I'm not gonna lie, man. Those new units I got, I haven't received my Corona box yet. It's on the way. It should be here. It'll be here Monday. But those new units I got from Jump Orange, they are heavy as hell. So excuse my phrase, but I mean, they're like.
Everybody said order from Leisure. They look twice as big as the Easy one. I got from Easy, and then everybody's like Leisure. I bought a bunch of stuff from Leisure. Get here, my guys' jaws to the floor. They're like, this is the same size as the Easy one. I'm like, oh man, what did I do? So
yeah,
we'll see.
The Leisure product is heavy.
Maybe because it's cold. Maybe we got it when it's cold and sitting it next to the.
Yeah, no.
I don't know.
Hey, Tariq, if you're ready to sell, let me know.
I would post a picture, but I don't want Leisure to get upset with me. But literally, we have one right next to the Easy one, and these guys are like, man, they didn't like the when we got the Easy ones, and they're looking at Leisure. Are you gonna give us a third guy to set this up? I'm like, no.
No.
Hoping that it's just the cold weather that it just looks bigger because of it'll slim down when it gets hot. That's what I'm banking on.
Maybe you should send them to Florida and we can show them how we do it.
I know. I'm gonna take John Snyder up on his offer. Send everybody over there. All my guys there for 4th of July.
There you go.
Or buy couple combos from Unique Jumper and give it to them. So
Right.
Oh,
That'll
uniques
teach
are
them now.
good.
beautiful and strong. Those Unique Jumpers, I think if they are not the best, they're one of the best.
Oh
But
yeah, they are.
heavy.
Built
I
like
own 3 of those, but oh, they're heavy, heavy, heavy.
I know the only unit that my guys really complain about right now is the
HEC.
no, it's the IX2 or it's the wet dry obstacle course slide from Leisure. And I actually, it was really funny. I pulled up behind one of our trailers and the roll was on the back and it was like giant. I actually felt bad. I was like, no wonder they hate that thing. It is massive. Massive. Looks like a broken.
Jenna, do you guys have any videos? I'm having a hard time rolling these combos. I guess this is kind of new for me because I had before I said I had water slides and these combos are a little difficult for me for some reason.
I do. I actually just saw a video the other day that I had taken like last year. So I'll try to find it again and send it to you. If not, I'll make my guys make you a video on Thursday because they're all doing a cleaning day.
But Maurice, let me tell you something. Try different techniques. Try Jana's technique. Go online, YouTube, and try different techniques because there will be techniques that maybe is different than the one that we use that work best for you guys, for the type of guys that you have, or for how many people you put per setup. For example, we have one of my drivers. He tell us the other day, hey, why we don't start, rolling the big water slide this way in a different way. On my head, I say, no, that's not gonna work. And they love it, and the rolls are better now. So you know what? I'm changing my procedures because we discovered a different way to do it. And maybe next year somebody else say something different. So keep trying, different ways. Don't worry about it.
Gotcha. Makes sense, Al. And I'm excited because I'm hiring my first guy next week Monday. So I'm sorry about the kids in the background. Yeah, but I'm hiring. So we're getting there. Typically, Al, it was just me and my 55-year-old pop. So, but my dad's like, no, he's tired. I gotta get somebody else, so I'm hiring now.
Congratulations, man.
Let me tell you, these things get easier and easier. My wife, she don't do deliveries anymore. But in the past, my wife, she used to make the best rolls from everybody in our company. So because she learned how to do it, and women are smarter than men. Everybody know that. But they know how to do it. They figured out a technique, and she did, basically any combo on our company by herself, and super nice.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Well, you guys have been amazing. Thank you so much. I know it's been a little while since we've done a all-inclusive roundtable, but Jana does these every other week in the Event Hawk members group. So if you're in there, they cover a different topic every week or every 2 weeks, every time. So definitely head over there and keep up with those. Anything else you guys would like us to cover, then do let us know. I'm doing a webinar tomorrow about how to get more bookings, just understanding the whole customer journey. So be sure to tune in on there. And I'd love to hear your opinions. We're always doing polls on what you guys want us to talk about, what you guys want to learn. We'd love to bring on more people. And again, I don't know everything, but we definitely would love to use this platform to give people like Al and Mark and Tony and Jana, all these different the platform for them to teach us and give their opinions. So thank you everybody who participated, especially thank you everybody who came in and listened. you guys make this industry what it is. Looking forward to seeing you guys soon. Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye, everybody. Thank you. Appreciate your advice.
Night,
Appreciate you.
everybody. Thanks. Peace.